to Blood Bonds, A Tale of the Ashen Court.
Thanks.
When we last left off, the group had successfully dispatched Lady Elaine Reinhardt. And with it, shut down the Duke's last major line of defense before his capital. It's taken a few days for your group to regather back behind your own lines, to lick your wounds and ready yourselves. Word has been sent forward from the camps ahead. Alcen's forces are on full retreat back to Altenstar. Most of his cards have been laid on the table, and you've beaten them one by one. His spymaster is gone, his own daughter is dead, and a nasty surprise is on the way for him.
Yes.
With that, your forces are seizing the initiative and moving in to Altenstar to surround the city and surround the Duke's last vestige of power. With that, we move to the siege. By the time the group reaches the front lines, camps have already begun to be set up. A great perimeter of barricades and defences, where in the distance you can hear the volley of arrows being fired back and forth, with the occasional sound of a distant fireball exploding against stone walls. The Duchess's forces have already begun the offensive, putting pressure against the Duke's forces and, well, as it seems with the Duchess's plan, currently, is to just simply shell-shock the outer walls until their forces lose morale. But as your group pulls in, you're able to take up positions and ready yourselves. This is the last hold for the Duke. We'll see where we go from here. I did provide some copyright-free music if you want to play it during the siege. It does seem appropriate.
It's already playing.
I'm gonna play Rush instead. No.
I have Final Fantasy music. It is very working for this.
Oh, that would be good. Final Fantasy 14 boss music.
I like the knife.
You have your target.
Just a brief note, I believe Isaac is not almost dead, right?
He would be fully healed. You had several days to rest.
Yeah, I was thinking, did I forget something? Did I mess up distracting the golems? I don't think...
No, we have not resolved any of the siege yet. Okay, at the top of your screen you should see three bars. One of them representing your force's morale, one representing his force's morale, and one representing the siege's progress.
Quick question. I have the little character shortcut toolbar on the top that's overlapping the bars. Can I move that?
You should be able to. There's padlocks
There's
on the right.
There's a padlock, yeah.
There's a little padlock on the right hand side. You can use that and then drag the bar elsewhere. Do you want to?
Oh, thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, perfect.
I had the exact same
What
thing.
padlock?
It's to the
Don't worry
right
about
of
Johnson, can't see
utility.
it.
I can see you. Hello?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
What?
To the right
You have
of
to
the
hover
utility.
to the right of utility, then it shows up.
Yeah, there's a little padlock.
You have to mouse over it first for it to show up.
Right, but how do I then move it?
You
Then
can
you
just
just
click the whole
Click
thing.
and drag on any one of the tabs.
Yeah. And then it just does the thing.
Why do you sound so suspicious? I'm trying to curse your computer or something.
A likely story.
Oh, alright.
As it stands, your victory condition is pretty simple. You win if either the enemy runs out of morale and they give up, or you complete the siege progress and just burst your way inside. Either way will be a victory for your side. Obviously, if your army ever runs out of morale, you're left by yourselves as your forces retreat. Try and avoid that one. Because the Duke's not holding back here. All his forces are concentrated. This is not a fight you can win with simply punching forward yourself. You will be killed by the number of critical hits that just raw crossbow bolts will get you.
All right. So hurry the fuck up.
I put you in the roles you guys said last time, and you have 4 forces on standby at the bottom. You have Sir Gillian, who is of course your general. You have the Duchess herself, though she may not necessarily listen to you personally. With this, she may do her own thing potentially. Brother Thane is joining you as he is a cleric of war. He has decided to join for this combat. And Ciel herself, of course, is on standby as well. She was not assigned a role. Your standby characters could be useful. And going through again for the roles everyone selected. Our glorious king, Duke Amanus, you are leading the primary vanguard on the siege. You are leading the offensive against the gatehouses and trying to breach into the Duke's castle itself. Vicus, you had been sent in to sneak in through the under tunnels of the castle and try to plant the sabotage in the mana supply. That was prepped by the Duchess. You had assigned Makara to try to sabotage the city's wards to make it easier for you to move around. And, well, put an easier time for your team. Red Talon, Isaac, you had been assigned to deal with the golems of somehow.
Somehow deal with them.
No.
Because on their own, they would just decimate your forces. Your forces cannot really take on strongly damage resistant, resistant to magic golems. They have no way of dealing with it. You assigned Lady Eliza to evacuate civilians. Meanwhile, Ceres, you are spreading dissent among the civilians and enemy soldiers alike.
I am.
At the bottom, there is also one other thing, which is an unrest bar for Altenstar. As the unrest increases, looting, pillaging, and such by internal forces or by their own civilians will increase, making it more dangerous for both your forces and the enemies. Though if it ever maxes out, you may end up having the city itself in revolt against both sides.
Alright.
Hey.
So keep that in mind with your action. Yeah, there are civilians here. Saving civilians could matter. Unless you just want to murder them all. I mean, your choice.
Well, that's why we got Lady Eliza, right?
Yeah.
She's attempting to evacuate, or she will.
Yeah.
Okay. With that in mind, then we will go ahead and move forward bit by bit. One second here. Okay. We will start off operations down in the undercroft of the city, as we move our camera kind of panning past all of the tents to, well, pretty much just you, Vicus. You and just a couple of your closest trusted agents and scouts. A squad of no more than 5 of you, currently at the undercroft of the city. A path through, well, let's be honest, it's through the waterways has been identified to be able to get you in the back of the palace.
Alright.
Never the most pleasant route in, but let's be honest, how many people defend their sewers that strongly?
Very true.
The sewers themselves are not the only route in you've identified, though. You could alternatively attempt to scale the outer wall and try to simply climb up through a blind spot to get to where the palace is. It's only a small group. It should be possible. Which way would you like to proceed?
How high up would I have to climb?
The outer walls would be a good 50-foot climb.
50-foot climb. And is it just me, or does other people have to come with me up there?
I mean, you can leave your squad behind, but it might make it more difficult.
Yeah, no, I'll go with sewers then. I could certainly teleport up myself, but I'd be leaving them behind. So let's go with the sewers.
Obviously, you
No.
could drop. If you could teleport, you could always drop a rope and try to go that way with it. So
That's true. Let's try that. So it's a bonus action to teleport. So I have. What is the conversion again for actions?
what do you mean conversion for actions? Just
'Cause
so...
you can can't you like turn an action into like a move and then move, or is that
You can turn action to a dash, which is more movement. So.
Yeah.
no? But like, wasn't there like you could like convert actions downwards? So like,
No, you can only. You,
Not in
this-
5e.
not in
Not
this
5e?
edition. No.
oh, okay,
That's
okay.
4th edition and Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, your exact actions aren't the important thing here. The question is how you are going to achieve what you're setting out to do.
But you have cunning actions, so you can use a bonus action to dash, for example.
Yeah, but it's climbing, so I'm gonna teleport, but my teleport is variable. So if I don't get enough height on it, then
That's what you're worried about. If you don't throw the dagger high enough.
yeah. But I can choose. I think I can. Let me look. I think I can choose just to not take that. Let's see. I could just teleport back. I don't have to go up. So let's try that. So I'm gonna use my soul blades, which is like my upgraded psychic blades here, and attempt a psychic teleportation up to where I need to go. So to roll my dice and multiply by 10, and that's how many feet. That is just not enough.
Is
So
that what is that? Is it 10
that's 40 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 per die. So he'll try and he'll.
You throw the dagger, and it doesn't quite go high enough.
Yeah, but I can choose to just basically pop to the side with it. Because you roll and then you throw, so he knows how far he can go. So he can try again. This just burns his resources, so it's a spend anyway.
Yep.
So I'll try again.
Which resources will be important here. So
It certainly will. Let's try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, then I'll. No. Okay. One more time, and then we'll see. Okay, that's 80. So
it takes you a couple of tries not quite getting it high enough.
Yep.
Eventually, you manage to blink up and land atop of the walls. You look out and you can see you can see from here a great view of everything going on, and a terrible view of everything going on. As you can see all the forces both outside and quite a lot on the inside, all moving around. It's a good vantage point you've got here.
all right. I'll pop the rope down. I have a good vantage point here, and my psychic whispers only require me to be able to see the creatures to connect with them. So is there something tactical I can do here to help, like, move certain forces around now that I have this vantage point?
You could slow down your operation, but try to help lead command from your current position, potentially helping the siege progress by, well, just that. Leading from your current position and giving out orders from from your position.
Yeah.
It does
'cause,
risk you getting spotted.
Yeah, certainly. I think this is really important to do. So I think I'll just continue.
Okay, so you're going to try and just press on inside.
I will press on inside. Yeah.
Can I get a skill check for you attempting to not get spotted on the walls?
Yes. Can I pop one of my potions of invisibility beforehand?
That's absolutely fine.
All right. I'll do that, and then we'll try the stealth here. It's a 29.
You move quickly and silently. Your squad keeping up with you and moving in your shadow. These are some of the best between yours and the Duchess's forces. Some of the Duchess's forces with you being cloaked by their own invisibility, and some of your forces just, well, they were trained by you, if anyone can do it. As you have made it inside the walls, you've made it inside the walls of the palace.
Right.
No, no additional progress, no changes to morale for the moment. But obviously, you made a point of progress. We now, as this is going on the outer walls, Amanus, you currently stand with the large group of your forces all gathered here. Multiple groups of militia. Some of Lady Eliza's personal archers under your command currently. Skirmishers of the Winterlands. Multiple ballistas, some gifted by dwarves, others requisitioned for other means. Along with the giants that were convinced to help join and help load the catapults and ballistae for you.
Yes.
All stand ready under your command on the outskirts of the walls. It's the gatehouses are still closed at the moment. There's no easy path in, but you are in command of the forces. You are the leader for this warfare. How do you want to approach this? Is there anything you want to say to your troops, or is there a tactical move you want to make with them immediately? Would you stand outside the gate?
As the ballista bolts, the catapult shells, slam into the gates. Arrows are shooting everywhere. It is time to storm. We have come now to the part where ladders need to be put on walls, and we need to, kick down the doors here. So Amnos will definitely try to hold a inspiring speech for his troops. He is a paladin of conquest. He is a monarch. This is his element. He's on the front lines. The cold air whipping around him. His cape fluttering in the breeze. His darkened armor glinting menacingly with the demon heads and whatnot from it. Saucer in his hand crackling. And his halo blazing, silvery bright, bathing everyone in his holy radiance. And yeah, he will try first to instill bravery and courage, the will to fight in his troops here. He knows that they need to. They're gonna have to do the heavy lifting here. And their success hangs on everyone else doing what they need to do, but that means that they have to hold until everything else is ready.
Very well. Can you please give me either a persuasion or intimidation check for your rousing speech?
Yes, I sure can.
If you have appropriate feat for this, like inspiring leader, please let me know.
Do I? I don't think I do. I don't think I have a specific feat. I do have the haunted one background, but I'm not sure that really applies here. Let's see.
I'll take that into account still.
All right, sure. It is. I also have my aura of conquest, just this menace, just flowing off him.
I mean, this is certainly a conquest if there ever was one.
Exactly. His anger burns bright like a dwarf's.
He has the banner as well, if that matters. The super banner.
The sweet animated banner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You animate the banner that Raiden helped enchant. A giant glowing phoenix sigil glowing overhead above your arm.
Arklan holding up the banner behind him in an appropriately, dramatic angle. Being a paladin of the crown. This is certainly his duty here.
This is a one-time use, but you can have advantage on this because of the banner.
Hey.
Yeah, I knew that was a good investment.
I will take it.
Spent like 250 gold on that.
Okay. That is, we avoided a 1, so well spent. Got a solid 20.
Your forces, they're embiggened by your speech as you give it out. They look to you, though worried and scared, passionate that they are on the right side. I will slightly increase the morale for your court.
As we then would start, like the storming, I don't know if this is gonna be able to set up first. If so, tell me. But when the storming starts, I'm gonna do a little bit of spell casting as well to try to bolster everyone.
I mean, your forces are going to get ready to move into position soon. What spell do you plan to reinforce them with then?
It is not so much them that I will reinforce with, but Amanas will, Paladin of Conquest, this is a conquest of a hated foe. He needs to be on the front line here, and he needs to lead his men, and his men needs to see him. That is always a challenge in actual battle. Where's the commander, right? So there is the banner to signify it, but he will also drink one of his potions of enlargement to make himself large. And then cast, Shield of Faith on himself. So it's just shimmering, magical shield blazing around him. And then he is like the size of a giant as he just strides forward with his men behind him.
That seems fair.
Yep. Maybe large, and then with Solskjaer also enlarged. Maybe I can even reach the top of the walls to just attack people. I don't know.
Okay. As you have your push, as the first breaches in enemy defenses begin to open, slight cracks in the gatehouse, and the first siege ladders rising, we see the giant Amnes charging across the bridge. Zolzir up in the air and literally just reaching up and pulling the men off the top of the walls with the blade on the edge.
Yep, just big swaths. And if he's appropriate, he will also use one of the shards and souls here to call down the fear explosion and whatnot to really shake parts the part that he's attacking. And he will definitely be like, all right, where are they the most heavily entrenched? That's where he will go. Pop souls here and his spells and just go to town. As he bellows behind him, to me, men!
Can you give me an attack roll? I'll use this as the marker of how this section goes.
Oh, okay.
You are personally leading as a giant for the forces here.
Yeah, exactly. 17 to attack. Yep.
Moment.
Then I'll spend if I can spend a searching here, but I'll note down that one of the 4 surges of Solskjaer will be spent here.
Alcend had lost a tiny bit of morale from your initial strike, and you've made a slight bit of progress on the siege.
Yep.
As you reach forward, and there is lots of shouting and lots of chaos around the gatehouse right now, as some of the enemy forces, seeing a giant you charge them, even though they're safely up on the walls, some of them are not so safe on the walls.
No.
Meanwhile, you're being peppered with arrows and ballistas and shots from all over. The enemy does not want to let you in.
Also remember that with the Armor of the Black Lord, anytime I'm struck by anything that is less or equal to half my level, they get charisma damage, they get 5 psychic damage.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Armor of the Black Lord, so people just...
There is a lot of screaming for whenever things hit you.
Yep.
Though things do hit you here.
Certainly.
You're on the vanguard. You are going to be taking the boat of damage here from most out of any of the rolls.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you're the paladin, so...
Yeah, I have 23 AC. I don't know if that matters with the spell running.
23 AC, that does somewhat matter.
Yep.
In which case, I knock off a damage dice off this, so I reduce that down to 46. Take that from your health.
Okay.
Okay. While this is going on, elsewhere, Ceres, you have been leading the forces, assisting with leading the forces on the other side, notably in the main city section of the combat, as there is an entire city here that needs clearing as well.
Sure am.
Many of the forces are moving around at the moment. And, well, it seems, for the most part, the Duchess's forces have most of the raw combat in control. The enemy forces are pushing back hard, clearly very determined not to let you into the city walls. How is it? You see a few opportunities here. You could try to target the soldiers directly to try to see if you can open a way for their forces on that side to enter. Or you could, given your expertise, I mean, you've already done such a good job spinning the bad PR around this place. There may be some civilian rebels you could try to distract the enemy forces with. Depending on how you want to go with this.
I mean, I like the idea of getting the enemy dissenters to sort of sow chaos. Are you talking like civilians? Like, or
I mean, civilians, but probably slightly more criminally civilian in some regards. But
criminally.
And other people who just disagree with the Duke's rule.
Yeah, I think Ceres will lean on that. She'd rather not try brute force her way through if she can help it.
You don't just start walking up and throwing fireballs.
Not yet, at least. That's for later.
Save that for when you're not in archery range.
Yeah.
Okay then. Given you've already done part of the work here, and that you can already hear slight scufflings going on. And there's certainly reactions within the city of people reacting to the giant phoenix floating in the sky right now. It doesn't take Ceres too long to find an area where, essentially, up ahead you can see a group of Alcen's personal guards currently encircling a group of rebels. The rebels are kind of backed into a corner at the moment. The guards don't know that you're there.
Oh, well. I think Ceres would want to... I mean, I didn't discuss this beforehand, but I would have wanted to copy that Frost Fireball at some point to my spellbook.
That's fine.
I think...
You can have access to it, that's not the issue.
Yeah, I think Ceres would use that specifically to take down a chunk of the that personal guard.
So you're gonna try and freeze the guards here who are attacking the rebels?
Yeah.
Okay. Why didn't you go ahead and cast me a fireball?
Let's cast you a fireball. Where is it? There it is. Minimal damage. Wonderful. Actually, no, it's not. It's just a couple ones.
Yeah, I mean, you had some low rolls in there, but
Decent number of 4s.
okay. As you move in there, you let out the blast of cold, freezing and definitely startling the enemy forces encircling the rebels, who very quickly jump on the opportunity, striking down with their own weapons and having cut down the half-frozen forces. Quickly, the rebels do seem to take note, though, of the elven woman who simply just seemingly showed up to their rescue in the middle of a siege. As one of the men walk up to you, he kind of looks like a mercenary in your eyes, or at least ex-mercenary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably thinking ex-mercenary. Slightly greyed beard, slightly too old for this job. There's a lot of young bloods kind of following him at the moment.
Hmm.
You with them? He says, kind of cocking her head towards the giant phoenix.
She looks up at it, and then back at them, and nods. Says, we're here to change ownership.
what we'd like to hear. It's been too long. Far too long.
Care
Some
to...
of the men seem to all be kind of speaking back and forth among themselves.
She'll like look over the group and say, how about you fellas take some destiny into your own hands? Come join us.
Might do just that. With this, you have the rebel group in front of you. How do you want to direct them exactly? Do you want them to simply rendezvous around with your soldiers and try to help push the siege? Or do you want them to go for as much carnage behind enemy lines as possible?
Really want to disrupt that front line. So, carnage. But, you know, she'll emphasize her desire for civilians to be safe. Like, burn what you want, but so long as there aren't, you know, women and children in the houses.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
Now that I can do.
Or an insight roll if you prefer.
Persuasion. I think I'm gonna use my inspiration on this. I reckon.
Go ahead.
17. Ugh.
Carnage will be done, though there is going to be some casualty.
Mm-hmm.
Force are let out. I'm going to increase the overall chaos in the city by...
If there wasn't chaos, it wouldn't. Actually, hang on. I have my reroll thing. Actually, no, that's just for attacks, abilities, saving throws.
Does not apply to skills.
Does not do skills. Never mind then.
The good news, they do cause some carnage with that, though. As some of Alcen's forces suddenly find themselves being attacked by old comrades. And, well, the new fires created in the city certainly disrupt morale. But still early days. Eliza's work is ongoing here. Isaac. You have been given the slightly unenviable job of helping deal with the golems. Around the city, sitting on sentinel watch, is several large golems, similar to some ones that the group has seen before, stone golems and the like, and others which you don't really fully know what they are. The main targets, though, you see currently around the large kind of central cathedral for the city, where it seems like a lot of the soldiers are getting patched up by the clergy. There is a large golem, seemingly made of stained glass, defending the location. Elsewhere, however, currently throwing down large boulders on top of where Amanus is a pair of stone golems on top of the gates. Which one do you want to prioritize?
I think he'll go for the glass golem deeper in the city. It's more of a mystery, and he does have an idea on how to, well, maybe not deal with it, but certainly distract it, and probably a lot of the people there as well. Just generally, maybe doing something similar as Sarah's is doing, just in his own way. A strategy he wants to employ here is, of course, guerrilla tactics. Not gorilla tactics, which I did consider. But close enough, as he will become nature's vengeance, or at least seemingly so. His plan is to cast freedom of movement, as well as pass without a trace on himself, and then sneak close. Once he's there, he will turn into, using his world shape, a enormous elk, a giant elk, in fact. One that you can clearly see is not just a big elk, but, you know, the whole deal, like, ruined, decorated antlers. He's got, like, his bags and such, almost like
Full-
saddlebags.
Full druidic creature.
Yes, like nature spirit. And
Mm.
between the freedom of movement, making him unable to be grabbed, the pass without a trace, making him melt into the shadows, and the 60-foot movement speed that a giant elk can do in a straight line, he wants to just basically run circles around everything. Just get things to chase him, run away, sneak around the corner, pop up elsewhere, just generally Benny Hill theme everything.
I like it. I like it. Stealth or perception?
Stealth, for sure. Although perception is better. Let's do perception then, if you give
You
me the
do
choice.
get the +10 with the stealth.
Oh, true. True. Stealth, absolutely. I don't have any modifiers elsewhere. I don't have inspiration either. That is terrible.
I mean, be thankful pass without trace is a +10.
It is a +10.
You get in there. The giant stained glass golem, like some artwork of the large religious institutions, animated with a force of vengeance. It is an intimidating creature. One who you can immediately tell is not only resilient to magic, but this thing would roast a normal would roast normal soldiers trying to get close to it. As you find it, as you engage with it, your large elk form, I can only just imagine goring the thing before running off into the distance again.
Yeah, smashing into it, turning away, running out of sight immediately, and just rinse repeating that a few times.
You find it condensing down beams of sunlight and then essentially blasting them as like prismatic rays out in your direction as you flee around the corner. Thankfully, hit and run tactics are probably the better option to do here, as you can keep getting out of line of sight, leaving the poor golem trying to chase you and not able to get a good aim. You're in wild shape currently right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Right. I'm gonna mark. How much health does a giant elk have?
Quite a lot. What is it? 42 hit points.
I'm gonna add on as temporary hit point for you, just to save us the.
Sure.
You are going to get struck by one of the prismatic rays, but it is not enough to immobilize you. Simply just kind of a scorching solar beam, as it were.
27, alright. That's a nasty beam.
But you have started to lure the golem away from its prime position. It's moving quickly, trying to follow you wherever you go. But I mean, it's like a huge-sized golem, and you are a very fast elk. Is there any particular you want to try and lure it, or is it simply just get it away from everything else?
Probably in the... My first instinct is to lure it into, like, the most... what's the word? Not crowded, but, like, small pathways, like staircases, vertical architecture, sort of where it can barely maneuver.
You can do that. Okay.
And just make it get lost, essentially.
You find some back alley streets that are all kind of separated out by like multiple levels of stairs connecting them all. And lead just on a wild chase through those alleyways. At one point, it even kind of getting stuck and lodged between two buildings, like shoulder to shoulder to each side. Okay. The golem is severely distracted at the moment, which is going to certainly make it slightly easier on your forces for the. as especially about that golem there, it's much quicker for the Duchess's own forces to start harassing the temple, stopping soldiers from getting close. As at this moment, a new issue arises on the front lines, endangering Amonis's frontal charge. However, as at this moment, a familiar problem arises. A large group of Myrmidons, elementals summoned by someone in the city walls. Though they don't quite look as strong as the ones you were dealt with before, very likely because Elaine is not the one conjuring them anymore. However, these elementals are rising atop the walls and starting to burn away at the siege ladders that the group, whenever the forces try to put them up.
Right.
This is a bit of a crisis going on. You can leave it, but it will severely hamper the vanguard. Alternatively, you can attempt to send someone to deal with it.
Right.
If so, who do you send?
Yes, who do we send to deal with it? Anyone good at fighting fires?
I mean,
I am not directly good fighting fires. I have a one.
Do you have
Trick?
banish?
No, I don't have a banish this time.
Brother Thane thinks that though he's still new at this, he might be able to banish them.
Perfect. Brother Thane, you're up.
Nice duty.
By the glory of the warrior? The warrior is what he reveres, I believe.
As Brother Thane and some of his acolytes fall out onto the battlefield, leading up behind you as your group starts getting bombarded by fire and the siege ladders burnt. As you see Brother Thane kind of letting out a somber but determined prayer. In the name of the Allmaker, in the name of our duty, for my will is righteous. Heed my call. Banish these forces, for this is a fight of mortals, not of the beyond. As he lets it out, and we will see how he does. Time for a skill check. You know what, since you haven't got to roll one yet, you get to roll the skill check for me. This will be fun. Please go ahead and roll for me a... let's see, his total modifier would be plus 8, please.
So D20 plus 8.
Mm-hmm. There is a clash of power and disruption. Though he's not able to clear all of them, he does manage to break away a decent group with his powers and with his priesthood constantly kind of pushing them back with their magic. He hasn't fully eliminated them. He's managed to limit some of the damage. But there is damage. And certainly, there is a slight drop to morale as Amonis, you hear the scream of some of your people who were like on the siege ladders, like falling to the ground from the high of the wall.
Right.
Not the greatest, but them somewhat occupied. Could have been a lot worse, though. Unchecked, they would have caused a lot more damage.
Mm.
It's at this moment, as the forces are kind of all moving forward, there is this feel in the air that all of you kind of recognize. A feeling you only really get when an intense amount of magic is being used. You sometimes feel it when Makara starts channeling something through the tower's ritual. That feeling of all the ambient magic starting to gather in one place. And you can all feel it as well. You think the Duke is up to something.
Well, brace for impact.
As a large glow can start being seen emanating from the tower high up.
Ah!
A large and glowing light shining out. Though it doesn't appear to be ready yet, it does seem that the Duke does not plan to go idly by with this. Your group is still in initiative for the moment, though. I'll continue in the order I was going in for now. As I make a note for Makara and Eliza, though, so I'll quickly roll some.
Also, I think Isa's roll was the first time any of us rolled above a 10 in our skill checks.
Don't not jinx it.
What, don't jinx the bad rolls?
Oh, the good rolls. That is the only good roll.
I rolled a 16.
Oh yeah, I suppose you did. I'm just used to Vickers always succeeding, so...
Okay, fair enough.
Eliza has managed to
party.
partly calm the rebellion going on, losing 1 pip from the rebellion tracker.
Alright.
So at least kind of stemming the damage going on.
Sorry,
It
Eliza.
does appear there are difficulties in suppressing all the wards around the city currently, as Makara's forces are getting waylaid more than expected. And well, sure, she can just nuke things. If she also has to be careful of not nuking your soldiers in the process. Slight issues there. Though given Makara, she still opts for nuking.
So I have a cheeky idea, but I don't know if it will work. Depending on the situation.
Go ahead.
The Amazon, like the army is attacking the front gates. How big are those gates?
The front gates are fairly large.
Would
The main
they be
port
sides huge or under?
It
Because-
would be it would be bigger than huge.
Okay. I was
You're thinking
wondering
animate
if I-
object, I assume.
yes animating the gates and sort of throwing them open. But they are larger than the huge size.
Well, the portcullises are. There are other things around you could animate if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would want to animate something that would aid the
If you want a huge sized object that could be animated, for example, you do see as some of the forces reaching the top of the walls, the enemy themselves have some ballistae on the walls that are huge size, if you're so interested.
Oh.
Oh, that could be quite funny. Just animating ballista and turning them against them. Yeah, I think.
Who
I
needs a
would-
siege crew when you've got an animated ballista?
Oh yeah, animated ballista that can, do quite a lot. Floating animating ballista. I think I will do that. I will animate some enemy ballista and make them turn against them.
Okay. So you join Amnes's forces there.
I will sneakily go there and animate them and then sneakily further away. But for the moment, I will go nearby Amanas.
That's fine. So you've got an animate object spell available, I assume?
Yes,
So go ahead and cast that for us.
sure.
And then, did you say you were also casting something else with that?
No.
Okay, just animate
This is a concentration spell, but I want large or huge things.
I mean, there is a huge ballista you can use. That's not an issue. I mean, ballistas are defaultly huge. So. As the ballista suddenly spins to life under your control. Do you personally point where it goes, or can you just let it just do its thing now?
I will command it to attack other ballistas or other gates, like strong structure, because it's a ballista. It does a lot of damage for structures.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the main thing that it will command.
Okay. This is going to be about finding a good target to shoot at. I'm thinking this is going to be...
I mean,
Maybe it can shoot the gates from behind.
yeah, the
They're
gates
easy
or
to
the maze.
destroy.
The gates or the mage tower if it can disturb the maze tower by destroying it. Either one.
Leave that as you as a choice. Do you want to have it focus on the mage tower, or do you want it to try to aim at the window which you see glowing?
So gates, maze tower, or the window. Maybe.
I mean, if you could hit that glowing window, that might be
I mean,
good.
yeah, it can fly nearby it and just try to attack it. Like it can fly. I guess I could try the
Ballista
window.
can fly.
Yeah, it can fly. It has 60 feet of speed.
That-
No,
that is
30
cool.
feet. 30 feet of speed. Of flying speed.
This is a terrifying concept.
Just a ballista just starts hovering. And just
Turns around.
flying off.
Yeah, I will attack the tower or the window, trying to disturb that thing.
Okay. Roll me an attack versus the window.
I should maybe have used advantage with the inspiration on it, but too late for now. So that notice I do have the inspiration. Oh, would you still allow me to roll with advantage?
I'll let you use the playing advantage if you want to.
Thank you. Oh yeah, that is much better. Thank you.
Very distantly. The fuck? As suddenly the blister just basically just floats up very silently to like the window and just point blank shoots straight inside. As there is suddenly a decimation for a ritual chamber up there. Your ballista gets absolutely torched, but not before. Let's just say your ballista may or may not have taken out some targets up.
Wonderful. Stand retreat.
That's Malbar, that's your Malbar.
That looks much better.
Vicus,
Yes.
your operation continues as you kind of move along. You can already see from high up in the tower above the massive glow, and you can feel it, the crystal in your head, kind of almost having this pained feeling that always kind of happens when a large ritual is being performed.
Mm.
You can sense they're pulling mana, and quickly. If you're going to sabotage this, you're going to want to move.
Well, if I'm gonna want to move, then I'm gonna cast haste on myself using my stopwatch.
Ah, I see.
Let's do that. And with cunning action dash on top of haste, standard action dash again. Very speedy.
Vicus moves at high speed through the tower. Eventually arriving in the central storeroom, deep in its heart. The storeroom has already been split up, and you can see as your kind of group reaches the corner and looks around, there is a large group of soldiers, and they're currently all moving around the crystals and trying to transport them. It seems like they're being sourced to 2 different locations in the tower.
Okay.
From a little bit of overhearing. Oh. So one set of the crystals is being transported out to apparently a ritual circle near the front lines.
Okay.
One set is being moved towards the Duke's room.
See.
Do you want to sabotage one, the other, or do you want to just delay them, or do you want to simply delay the transport of both at the moment by just simply knocking out the guards here? Though more will certainly come back soon enough.
I think this is a tough question. I think that given how the speed that I can output here, I think knocking them out and delaying both might be better in the long run. So I will attempt to do that.
How much data is for the crystals? Because you could put them to the hole.
It's true.
What was that?
So I have a portable hole with me, so I'm wondering how much crystals are there. If I can knock them out, I could like...
There's quite the horde here for it. But given the fact you've gotten here quite quickly, it may be possible, with the guards knocked out, you may have enough time to sabotage both, but you're not sure. As for stealing them, that would take a lot longer.
Yeah. I'll try.
Your sabotage process is merely using the alchemical objects that you were given from the Duchess to basically pour that over the crystals.
Yeah.
But
I think
to sabotage it, like to actually steal it, or would be you just have to spend ages moving them.
Yeah, I think keeping up the speed here is good. So if you can quickly knock them out and try and sabotage both, obviously might not have the time to do so, but we'll try.
Okay. So you're going to try going with a slightly riskier ploy.
Yeah.
Court is yours then, as you have as you kind of have the group of guards ahead, and I suppose you lead the knockout plan.
Yes.
This seems like an attack roll to me.
I think so too. I'll use my blades for this, because let's see. Okay, so I can use my power to home them.
You can do so if you want to.
I believe I will. So I will use my homing strikes to add a 2, so that's a 19.
You do it, but not before a small fight breaks out in the vault.
Okay.
What's your AC?
My AC is 20 with the haste, 18 normally.
Okay, that does max. That's actually a dice less than I was expecting.
Oh. Alright. Can I uncanny dodge this by any chance?
You will not be able to uncanny dodge the full combats.
That's fair. Alright.
But you get yourself bloodied, and so do some of your people, but you're fine for the moment. As you've knocked them out, you haven't had enough chance to sabotage anything yet, but you've knocked them out and delayed both rituals for a second.
Yeah.
On the front lines, as Brother Fane leads away the elementals, Amanus, there's a breach.
Yes.
As the large battering ram breaks down the front gate, and you're able to simply head forward with your giant strength, along with the actual giants following behind you, and just forcibly lift the portcullis out of the ground.
Yep, just wrench it.
There is a crack and shatter of chains as you just force the portcullis, bending it up and out of position, and forces begin to swarm like a river out beside you.
And we charge in.
You begin to force your way inside. Enemy soldiers lined up, spears at the ready and phalanx to try and stop you. You can smash on through, or if you have another strategy, you'll feel free to employ it.
He will stride forward in his large form. Halo blazing, the soul seer crackling with energy. He will approach the tightest and most packed enemy formation, and then he will let loose another charge of soul seer. hitting them with a fear pulse, and then lightning as he then just strides in and starts killing
Intimidation, it
As-
sounds like.
as brutally as it possibly can. Yes. Could
You'll
I
have advantage from Zolzir here.
Okay. 23.
The crack of Eldritch Lightning comes down, striking and dancing between cowering forces who cannot flee from your aura of conquest.
No.
As you just start cutting and slashing your way through a helpless crowd, cowering under Zolzir's spot. It's sort of horrific to watch, to be honest. You aren't entirely sure if this entirely meets all the legal codes of war, but you don't really care at the moment.
No.
They're only guidelines anyway, aren't they?
Yes. But, crushing your enemy's morale and destroying, instilling fear is what he. That's how you do it, right? And this is how you instill fear. Awesome, divine might and terrible, terrible fear pouring off him. The the snarling demon face is seemingly howling as the wind whips around him, creating this like keening sound as the lightning strikes, blood flies in all directions. Just brutal cut after brutal cut, with the giant halberd like a scythe going through a wheat.
Bloody carnage is all that can be said here.
Yes, the halo blazing as he is in his element, blood splattering on his armor, on his face, and it's just this grim smile as he just cuts through his enemies.
Isaac? You have successfully managed to lead that stained glass golem on a merry chase through the city, and at this point, kind of got it stuck in an awkward crevice between two buildings. It's out of commission for the moment, and to be honest, at this point, you can just hit and run, smash it to pieces.
Sure, that seems like a possibility. Then he'll do that.
It's something you can more than do as you've managed to isolate it successfully, though it does take some time. But its completion is not a major issue. With it at this point, this golem has been successfully taken off the battlefield, opening up the healing stage of the cathedral as unprotected, which is of great help. You can continue on your current job of trying to distract the golems by going after other golems in the city, or you could potentially try to help push forces somewhere, if you wish at this point, such as push them against the cathedral you just opened.
I think he would like to take care of the upper golems. Like, that was his job, and gosh damn it, he's gonna do it.
If you wish, you can always deploy one of the free units to try and go ahead and push the cathedral if you would like to.
Sure, but not really my call to make.
Very well. But it's Isaac's the one would be the one to let up the signal if you want to. As much as the signal as you can give as an elk.
It's a loud elk moo. No, he's gonna do his own thing. He's not a commander. He's not a leader. He goes in there and messes things up his way.
In that
That's
case,
what he does.
Up on the front lines right now, which actually I need to roll this because Amanus is also technically in danger at the moment. As Amanus, you would take another 9 damage for your current fighting. Not very much at the moment because Zolzir is doing quite a good job.
I'll take that. That's no problem.
But it stands, Isaac. You can see from up ahead, where Amanus those golems who previously before were up upon the walls, soon coming down to flank Amnos as the commander and try to pull him out of the fight.
Well, we can't have that, can we?
You may deal with the 2 large stone golems however you wish to.
I mean,
As it stands now, they're just chucking massive boulders out and crushing forces below them.
I feel like the most straightforward solution is also the best one. Is it though? Does Isaac know how strong stone golems are?
They're pretty tough. But is there a particular kind of strength you're looking for, or any details in particular Isaac's looking for?
Like, if Isaac were to try to brawl one, maybe both of them, would he get smushed instantly?
Depending on the form you're in, but it's possible he could out wrestle one depending on his form.
Sure. All right. Then he will charge at least one of the golems in his elk form before going back to good old giant crocodile with a polymorph spell.
Oh boy. You can just keep refreshing those temporary hit points of yours to whatever your new form is.
I love this like Godzilla fight we have going on in the city.
Yeah, basically.
As I suppose what we see is like the 2 stone golems start moving up behind Amnos while he's busy like terrorizing the forces. One of them raises its fist up into the air, and right before it's chance to strike him, suddenly crocodile.
Yeah, the giant elk like majestically jumping over the battle before form shifting. Suddenly, giant crocodile airstrike.
Giant crocodile. Why is that not a Floridian military tactic?
Can I either have a crocodile-based athletics roll or a crocodile-based attack roll?
Sure. Let me find the crocodile.
The sentences D&D makes us say.
I have said many sentences in D&D that I would never say anywhere else in my life.
I mean, the bonuses are actually identical. I have a 16.
This is gonna hurt. As you do manage to successfully like grab hold of one of the golems and pull it down to the side. As it then you get into a wrestling match with a stone golem, rolling across the snow and smashing through the side of one of the stables.
Yeah, but it's worth noting that Isaac still has freedom of movement. He cannot be wrestled, but he can be the wrestler.
That is important.
That's such a one-sided fight.
That's funny. I like that.
I'm gonna wrestle this guy, but I physically can't
You
be
will take-
wrestled back.
You are going to take half the damage I'm about to roll from the stone golem. As it turns out, you are really slippery.
Yeah. Oiled giant crocodile.
That's funny. I like that.
All right. Also, the crocodile is 85.
The stone golem
add that
also
as
tries to
plus.
release its slow aura on you, which you are immune to currently.
So take half of this?
Yep.
Wonderful.
That's from the first one, admittedly. And then the second one also gets to smash you.
Oh, oops, I took full.
But it's fine.
Oh, there we
But-
go. And I do owe you concentration saves. As it turns out, giant crocodiles very sturdy.
It is good.
How do I do that? I'm just gonna hold flat.
It turns out magic resistance doesn't help though when you're fighting as a crocodile.
7. Oop. Okay, the second golem does eventually manage to wrestle Isaac into his normal shape, which means he'll just cast another polymorph. You know, fuck you.
Go ahead and expend another charge.
Yeah, I'm throwing all the spells at this.
And essentially Isaac is slammed into a wall, turns back into a person. I suppose looks angry and turns back into a crocodile.
Yes. Like just the thing where he starts charging first and then turns into a crocodile.
There's like a slight head tilt from the golem of like, wait, what? But you just smash back into it again, as there's just this wrestling match between a crocodile and 2 stone golems in the background of Amanus being the harvest.
I'm pretty sure there's a Godzilla movie like that.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Well, this is a display, alright.
Oh wow, that siege progress went up.
Good work.
Ceres?
Yes.
On your side, forces are continuing to move through at the moment. And, well, Elsen's forces are certainly getting a little bit distracted, especially as you hear a whisper kind of start earing its way through the camps. Apparently some giant ballista came in and shot the lieutenant commander. The enemy force is slightly demoralized from this.
Hilarious.
As you're currently with some of the Duchess's troops on the far side of the city right now, how would you like to keep assisting them from there? As you can hear the murmurs from the enemy root units up ahead.
Murmurs from the enemy units, huh? As in, like, flagging resolve sort of murmurs?
Some of their resolve clearly isn't doing the best after hearing, a floating ballista came to attack one of them.
I think Ceres is just going to try and, like, push on that, basically. Like, try and convince them that the only way they'll make it through today is just to surrender. This is but the first wave. This is just the first of our great assault. And clearly the only way they can survive is just to surrender. Join us, in fact. Just join us instead of throwing your lives away for a man that would steal your babies and put them in a tower for you to never see again.
Okay. Gonna try and persuade them here.
Oh yeah.
A man who has done nothing for them ever.
Yeah.
Name one thing he's done.
So what is Ceres like? Ceres can just like stand up atop one of the barricades and start calling this out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, probably using like prestidigitation to be like fancy and look cool at the same time.
I think you can use that to enhance your voice.
I think
So it's like
thaumaturgy
like-
as well. Yeah.
Thaumaturgy, yeah.
I think both. I think both of the like minor magic cantrips can do it. But...
Yeah. I think so. But yeah, basically get into view of the enemy. Like, she's willing to do that.
You'll be in line of fire here, but
she's willing to do that to prove their stance. You know.
go ahead and roll me a persuasion or an intimidation.
Oh, persuasion all the way. 25.
As you speak out, you hear increasing murmurs from the enemy force. As you hear definitely what sounds like probably more of like some of the newer recruits or some of the militia kind of pulled in for this. Basically, the equivalent just, oh fuck this shit. And you see some of the forces like scurrying, some of the forces up ahead even just kind of just dropping their weapons and running.
Yeah, that works.
As you then see one of the Duke's personal Blackfire mages seemingly step out. And in response to seeing this, try to send out a massive kind of some kind of spell, releasing black fire out towards both the running away soldiers and you.
Can Ceres counterspell it?
What you can, but what level of counterspell are you willing to spend?
Fourth, I reckon.
To spend a 4th level counter.
Yeah.
Which means that automatically dispels a 5th level?
Fourth or below.
4th or below. Okay. I guess. Okay. As you send out the counter spell. Go ahead and expend that for me.
Yep. Let me.
As the wall of fire comes out and nearly evaporates some of your troops, the fleeing troops, and partly nearly you. You snap the magic out of existence. As the black fire mage looks at you with astonishment.
Can Ceres now fireball them?
Mage off will now proceed.
I thought like 5e had a feat where it's like, when you counterspell, send it back at them.
Yeah, right. Oh, like the monk's ability to like throw projectiles
deflect
back.
missile, just deflect spell. Yeah,
Just deflect spell.
Both you and the black fire mage, if you wish, can now both fire a spell at each other.
Sure, actually, sure.
What spell would you like to aim at the mage in front of you who's you're clean down a doorway?
Well, Ceres is gonna go with a show of force, I reckon. Because she's aiming the whole point of her being in this section of the battle is to demoralize the enemy. And like the black fire mages is like his ace in the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
his elite mages.
yeah. So Ceres is going to cast Phantasmal Killer.
Ah.
And in their case, you'll need to make me a charisma saving throw for what they're casting.
That's fine. I mean,
We will see what.
I will re-roll that with my Chronal Shift. I'll just click the advantage button. Oh, much better.
Nice.
Ooh, okay.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
get there in
you
a second.
could shunt her as well. That'd be funny. Just like be gone. So I make a mega spell there, and she's like, "Oh yes, I have the upper hand." You're like, "See ya."
I could technically make them.
They've rolled an 18 on their save.
I could make them re-roll.
Do you want to make them reroll?
I want to make them re-roll. Just why not? Yes.
Cool.
All right, nice.
There are two effects here then. So, the mage duel goes off, and there is two after effects. Would you like the good news or the bad news?
Bad news first.
Bad news: you did not resist their spell properly.
Okay.
As Ceres, you suddenly find a gaping hole of darkness open beneath you, and yourself suddenly sucked in.
Oh.
Interesting.
As you are temporarily banished.
Oh no.
However, the Black Fire Mage who casts that, simultaneously as you get sucked into the portal, you'll see dying of fright.
Oh, then you just pop back out.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for her because that's an ongoing spell. She's now frightened, and each turn takes damage until she dies.
Yeah, essentially, there is a distant, screaming as they run around holding their head. Meanwhile, Ceres is just kind of stuck floating through the plains for a little bit while this person's dying.
Yeah.
Maybe I should check out my buddy Halldamir Omen, the Shadow Play, while I'm here.
I'm just reading ritual books while I'm in the banished.
So, unfortunate effect, Ceres. You are not going to be available for the next turn,
That is unfortunate.
as you have been temporarily banished.
I mean,
The good
she
news,
is too, though.
the good news, though, is the enemy morale is going to take a bit of a hit.
Sweet.
I just love this image that she's like the Black Fire Mage is like, ha ha ha, I banished them. Oh my god.
And they're now being
Nightmarish
chased around by their biggest fear, which I can only presume is a naked version of the Duke. But
for the next minute.
I don't know.
They're frightened and taking constant damage.
but also, given your previous actions, there is some more siege.
Yeah, exactly. Sheep. Constant falling in the void. Oh dear. What are those?
Eliza is struggling on the civilian front this time, though Makara's doing far better. As a whole bunch of wards around the city shatter, as Makara's team finally managed to break out of the fight they were stuck in. Opening things up rather significantly, in fact. With the wards broken, that now means some of the Duchess's extra forces can get better go at their work. As suddenly, greater confusion fills the enemy ranks as illusionary soldiers begin to rain across the city from Eliza's own illusion, from the Duchess's illusionist.
Oh, sweet.
Whatever spells are going on are still ongoing at the moment, but it seems fine for now.
I got another distraction for the tower.
If you have something else you would like to do with your current time, you can.
Yeah, I have
You were not bound into a particular position at the moment.
So there are some maids concentrating and casting things.
There are.
The problem is that they mostly need to breathe. So I'm gonna go there and cast a stinking cloud on them, making them harder to read and take actions.
So you'll need to get close enough to the mages to do this. But
Just walk the walls or run the walls. Because
you do
can.
indeed have that. Are you going to try and sneakily get there, or are you just going to just not care and just run?
I think he's gonna run because I don't want the tower effect go off, and this is distraction. This is a mini distraction.
Athletics or acrobatics then to get there quickly.
Acrobatics, of course. Oh yeah.
Nice.
CL moves very quickly through the city, and at this point, very much using her kind of dancer-like skills along with her vampiric grace to leap from rooftop to rooftop, and then just suddenly just climb straight up the side of a building over an overhang while throwing out a spell. All of this clearly happening. We're just panning the camera up from where Isaac and Amanus is right now. The stinking cloud goes off. Okay. As you hear coughing and choking from one of the mage groups, as that room fills with a noxious gas.
Yeah. So they're now taking their actions as trying to reel away from the gases.
Okay. Things are getting a bit chaotic in the city. There's a lot kind of going on now, and your forces have now pressed a solid foothold through the main gate. Though you're being slowed down by internal gateways and all the like, but you're certainly starting to make a definite foothold here. Things are getting, well, you've breached through the outer defences. It's only the inner wards now to deal with. The siege is at least halfway through, and enemy morale's not looking the best. Vicus, you're currently in the vault.
Okay.
You have some time at the moment to work. though you don't know how long you've got.
All right, let's work. Don't really have anything else that can like speed me up. I think I just gotta work at it. So
You can go ahead and either give me, if you have a proficiency in alchemical tools, you can use that, or a sleight of hand.
I will use sleight of hand. I'm training that. Let's go with that. 24. Wow.
As you get to work, attempting to sabotage the ritual supplies. As you pour over the strange liquid that you were given from the Duchess, you see the crystals change slightly. The color slightly changing hue. It's subtle, but you notice it. And you immediately feel as you're kind of handling these things, this almost toxic presence that's faint, but it's there.
Mm.
You feel like anyone who tries using these is not going to quite like the effects.
All right.
As you kind of go through, and you seem to manage to get through both sets before any reinforcements come along and figure out that you've been there.
Okay.
As you manage to pull back. For the moment, it's safe now. It now simply just find out what happens with the ritual supplies as they are.
How high up am I?
You're quite low down, honestly, in the tower where you are right now, because you're kind of in the basement levels.
Right. Okay. Okay.
You're kind of very deep into the city, but in the basement, very isolated from pretty much anyone else at the moment.
Okay.
Though you might have you probably still have a psychic link going with some of them.
Yes.
Though speaking of psychic links, we're going on potentially with someone. Aminus.
Yes.
You have been just tearing and chopping away through kind of the frontal defenders, who at this point have all either died, retreated. Actually, really, those are the only two options with you around.
Yeah.
As you kind of pushed your way and have a good, strong control over kind of this large courtyard. Though many of the force have now retreated back to a secondary inner gatehouse.
Yeah.
Trying to defend the inner bailies. This is not going to be... I mean, you can have your forces simply try to smash down the gates again, or you can try to find alternate routes, though even where you are now, you're starting to be peppered from spells directly from the palace and tower.
Yeah.
As you can feel yourself kind of every so often, even if it's only small spell, like an occasional acid splash, you can feel it.
Sure.
You are a big target, and the enemies know to fire at you.
That's fine. I'm here to draw fire away in a lot of a sense here, so that's fine. He will first of all order to form a breachhead here, secure a base camp inside the gates, so we can secure the most immediate streets and make it possible for more troops to pour through. And then he will, I suppose, send out some scouts. He can't really scout himself, he's too big for that. But if there are anyone available, or if you have scouts, to see if we can find a way around to not have to storm another gate just head on, that would be nice. Although, if it takes too long, he will probably opt to just storm that gate as well, just brute forcing through.
You and your forces are quite occupied at the moment, and if you want them to secure a good camp, you're going to need to spend some time actually defending them and holding off the enemies.
Yeah.
To buy you time.
Yeah.
You could send one of your auxiliary units, such as sending Gillian McFrey in to try and secure your back entrance.
Yes, that's perfect. Gillian, that's his mission. He's a military man. He knows what's at stake. Go, go, go.
He will lead his auxiliary squad of knights in then that he brought with him to help try and secure your back route.
Yes. If he does well, Amnas will promise him a glorious charge in the vanguard for the next assault.
From Gillian's previous service here, he does know in fact there should be an alternate entranceway towards the back of the castle, so he's going to see if he can secure it.
Most excellent.
This is not his first time here, after all. He did serve for enemy once.
That's true. True.
Very well. which just leaves Amnes then to try and defend, try and simply defend his camp.
Yes.
As it's not easy, as enemy forces do not want to let you get this foothold. For obvious reasons.
Understandable.
As you see them release out these strange magical creatures start coming out, released, kind of pouring over the walls, sliding down. Apparently remnants of some of the alchemist experiments, these spy masters, and some kind of strange ooze-like creatures kind of pour down the walls and try to just engulf your camp.
Ew.
Your troops have no idea what to do and look like they want to just flee seeing these.
No, you beat oozes by taking warhammers and smack the ooze. You grab, Amnes will like grab a cart or like a post or something, and you start smacking the ooze with the.
I mean, there is a smash stable nearby. You can pick up a large beam off that, for example.
Exactly. It's like use blunt trauma, destroy them. Smack, smack, smack.
Very well. You have these large aberrant creatures trying to engulf your troops. Feel free to try and smash them.
Yes. Well, what do I roll?
If you're just going for raw attack, then I think just an attack roll probably makes the most sense here.
Sure.
Though you're free to justify if you have something else you think would be more appropriate.
Not necessarily. Let's take a look.
You are free to smite the oozes if that is so your choice.
Well, if the aberrations, yeah, why not? Take his flail that he still has, swing it mightily over his head, and then as it cracks down on the ooze, he'll release some glorious power to see if he can burn it away a little bit more. Here comes attack roll. 20.
And give me a damage roll versus the swarm in this case. You can use any weapon that's fine for this, but
Sure.
just we have it on the table.
Yeah.
And you may boost that as much as you want to.
Yeah. We'll burn some extra.
You can, even though you could normally do this in a combat, or in this case, since it's technically representing multiple smashing, you feel free to use multiple abilities if you want to smash as much as
Sure.
you would. You spend as much as you would want to use against these forces.
8 radiant from more, holy vengeance. Yeah, I think that's what I have. Actually, I'm gonna retract that smite damage, and instead, I'm just actually gonna cast a spell.
Oh.
To help boost his people, because they're like, oh no, ooze, our feeble weapons can't hurt them, but aha, yes they can, because Amnes will cast Crusader's Mantle.
What is Crusader's Mantle?
I must be to place a thing.
It's fine, just drop it anywhere on the map, that's fine.
Ah!
To feel powerful.
Surprise!
Disco Amanas.
My eyes.
Crusader's Mantle! Basically, holy power radiates out from him and imbues all of his allies' weapons around him with holy power. So each strike they do will do an extra d4 radiant damage, and this is excellent for groups such as this. Because it just bathes anyone in a 30-foot radius around him, and he's large.
Yeah? Okay. This is not a foe that your people want to fight, but you do a decent job of protecting the camp and giving your people time to establish a base camp.
Faith in their rightful lord.
not that far.
Oh god! That was a terrible mistake.
There you go. You lost some, but you didn't lose that much.
Fair enough.
As you push back, and though your troops do seem slightly better when, you know, when they see their own weapons glowing with divine power.
Alright.
Isaac, the golems that you've been dealing with have been mostly dealt with. Though not before you're going to get hammered again.
It's fine.
They're golems, they are powerful. There is a reason that this is a separate role. Given your freedom movement, you will again take half. But
Alright.
largely because their slow field can't affect you, which is really a help.
Be that constant.
No, that is already bad.
So, as you manage to crumble them down, but not before being slammed back into your normal form again,
Well, mission accomplished, I guess.
the golems, for the moment, have been dealt with. Though, even at this moment, you can feel something odd going on. You feel magic. Not just the magic from the tower above, but a new magic down on the battlefield starting to build. And your senses as a druid don't like them. It feels like very deep necromancy being performed by someone somewhere nearby.
Can you figure out where that is happening?
You can try to.
I would like to.
Perception or investigation.
I'm gonna perceive 17.
It takes you some time, but you do manage to stumble across in a secluded courtyard that we think once was like a little like merchant's market. You can see a large ritual circle and several of the Blackfire mages there, currently casting some kind of strange spell. A large pile of mana crystals in the middle, having been ferried in, as you feel necromantic energy being seeped into the earth around you.
That's not ideal. Does it seem obvious what they're trying to do?
You can roll me an Arcana or Religion check.
I know neither of those things.
You
Right.
can try. You probably won't know much.
So let's have a think about no.
You don't know. They're using some kind of powerful magic here, but it's not clear what for. Outside, your senses are telling you this is necromantic. Probably also the small wisps of like soul energy is probably also a giveaway.
It's not ideal. I can't really stop this. I mean, he could try to disrupt it. He's good at disrupting things.
What happens if you like call lightning on top of the crystals, like hitting the crystals with a lightning bolt?
That could be an idea.
Just to detonate half the street.
But you have been warned that mana crystals can be volatile when exposed to strong magic.
Alright. Strong magic. Messing up rituals. That seems like a plan. Isaac will do his name proud. I think. He will cast a 5th level Call Lightning. Blowing his most powerful spell slot on this.
As storms begin to roll in overhead above the city.
Before he will use his second charge of Wild Shape to turn into a hawk. Hoping to at least have the range advantage and the agility advantage on mages that will hopefully soon be very angry.
Thunderhawk, go. Okay. What does a 5th level Call Lightning look like?
Look like as in describe, or look like as in how much damage does it do?
How much damage would it do, and how long does this last?
It lasts for up to 10 minutes concentration, and every turn I can call down a 5-foot radius lightning impact that does 5d10 lightning damage.
And technically, your location doesn't actually matter after the spell's cast, does it?
Exactly. The cloud is stationary.
It's just a storm cloud over the city now.
It is a 60-foot radius. It's very concentrated, but
Very concentrated storm cloud over the city.
yeah.
Okay. Just considering the best way to this to go, because this is problematic for them. Okay. You at some point are going to get hit. That's not a question. Is wild shape concentration, or is that purely based on your hit points?
Wild shape is not concentration.
Okay, so they can't just knock you out of it in terms of concentration then. Right. Okay. As you send down a flurry of lightning, 1 stroke, 2 stroke. As you just keep flying around, striking both the mages occasionally, but largely the pile of crystals. As the entire as you start damaging the crystals one by one. And well, I mean, everyone kind of sees this. Sarah's in particular probably does take note when she eventually returns in a while. She's still gone right now. But to everyone, there is this sudden detonation of like blue, sparking smoke from around one of the alleyways, as a large detonation of magical power goes off, sending kind of like shrieking blazes of magic all over the place. As it turns out, some of the mages realised what you were up to, but they couldn't really stop you. They weren't really in a good position to be able to stop you, given you were out of range.
Yeah, suck it, mages.
They
Druids rule.
sure do.
Druids rule, mages drool.
Given their situation, they could. Yeah, it's not a lot they could do. Though I do need to see how much health do you have as a bird.
The giant eagle, which would be the shape he prefers. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's the right one. Asgulfim has 26 hit points.
We will see if you get knocked out of the sky or not.
Yeah, it might very well happen, which would be bad.
Could you give me a dexterity saving throw?
I absolutely can.
As multiple of them are going to try and blast this bird out of the sky. So.
It's not the best. 20, however.
Good news, you'll be taking half the damage.
Wonderful.
Which is good, because, again, multiple mages trying to knock you out the we will see how this goes. How much damage is a single fireball first? That's 8d6. Turns out there's a group of mages. Yeah.
I mean,
We'll see.
maybe this is semantics, but
Yep.
fireballs explode when they impact with something, right? Surely it is vastly, vastly more difficult to hit a flying target than it is to hit the ground next to a target, as would be normally the case.
I think it just explodes at a point, doesn't say it has to actually
Yeah, you take a
impact.
point, so
Oh, okay. Fair
they
enough.
explode near you, I guess. and
No,
try
listen,
and-
no, you're not wrong. It's difficult to certainly aim at a bird in the air and figure out exactly what point to aim at. But I'll give you that. We'll see the first detonation. At half damage, that's fine.
Hmm.
Alright. Let's meet to 15.
We will then see the second detonation.
That puts me to 0 exactly.
Oh dear.
Well, do you have a solution, by the way, when you are a bird high in the air and get blasted out of being a bird?
My solution is to panic slightly.
Oh.
So gravity will be your solution. I understand. Be fine.
Yeah, it's not a good time. It's
mean,
gravity time.
I mean, seriously, Isaac will be fine. But he may be hurt by impact.
You know,
sure.
sometimes you don't fly too close to the sun. You fly too close to the fireballs. It just happens.
Yeah, the ritual is detonated, and you have disrupted it. Prevented them from raising a necromantic response. You do, however, fall and take 38 points of damage as you land in an alleyway somewhere.
That's fine.
Obviously, that's from your human form, given you got burst out of wild shape.
Yep.
But it's fine. You are face first in some cobblestone somewhere, but you're fine.
You know, as far as Isaac is concerned, his contribution has been plenty, and he can take a break now.
This has increased panic in the city by 2. However, this has certainly had an effect on the sense.
Casts a good berry and starts snacking in whatever alleyway he is laying around.
Yeah, you just hang out a bit.
Yeah.
Nobody can accuse him of not doing enough.
I'm duly impressed of flying crocodiles and exploding birds.
Ceres, you're currently not here, as you were banished last turn.
That's true.
As basically, you don't get to reappear until basically you suddenly reappear where you were before, realizing that was inconvenient, and then you suddenly see the manor explosion go off, though far in the distance.
You know, undead black fire mage. It's worth being banished for a little bit. She got some light reading done. Fine.
What else do you do while you're banished?
Well, I mean, yeah, what else are you gonna do? I'll be right back.
Interesting. Some of your forces on the side of the wall where Neoceres was do take a beating. That flank has gotten pretty hurt by what's been going on, but they're still. I'm actually going to go to you first to start this round.
Yes.
Your force have managed to secure a good base camp, and Sir Gillian has returned that his people have managed to secure an old passageway into the castle around the back.
All right.
When you're ready, he should be able to get his forces up on the wall to open the gate for you.
Then forward we go.
As you move your forces up, you get pelted by the defenders who were currently on the wall, shooting down various things that trying to disrupt the giant king walking towards them.
Yep.
Including you also taking a fireball to the face.
That's okay.
Please roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Ahaha. My worst one. $21.
Take half.
Ah. All right.
And you also just take 7 passive damage from being pelted with arrows.
Certainly.
As you pull up towards the wall, as you then suddenly see a couple of Alcen's men just thrown off the sides of it.
Uh-huh.
As you see some of Sir Gillian's knights arrive at the top, one of them throwing down your banner over the side of it while another one kicks open the mechanism.
Yes.
Chains quickly spinning as the gates just part open to you, opening you into the inner courtyard of the keep.
Forward, men, to me! As he charges in, stomping his way through. Get him!
An entire line of Alcen's men are all lined up with crossbows and just start hailing fire straight through the gateway. It's just a rain and pepper of arrows coming right at you, Amanus.
Your feeble shots cannot stop the inevitable.
Do you want to just let them fire?
I mean, charging straight at them. I don't really have fireballs to shoot. That's not what I do.
I just didn't know if you had anything to defend yourself against a hail of arrows here.
Could I distract them from the far
If you
further
think you've got a
side?
way to protect Amanus from a hailstorm of arrows.
I got not a stinging cloud or major illusion. I could do like an illusion of a troops attacking behind them, so they are distracted.
You can also just be an illusion of a massive wall so they can't shoot through it. They're like, oh.
The illusion of a flying crocodile swooping towards them.
Mass crocodile.
I could do an illusion of like that.
Airdropping crocodiles
Yeah.
on top of
Yeah.
the battlements. Yeah.
Whee!
Like a dragon descending without wings.
Yeah.
Can I get
Or a
a
flop.
If you're going to do this, can I get a deception or a performance?
Sure. Let me see which is better. Yeah, performance. It's decent roll.
It's partially effective. At least somewhat confusing the forces here. Amanus, can you please make me another dexterity saving throw?
Yep.
I'm going to count your result as being too higher than normal from Sio.
Yeah. I do still have my Shield of Faith spell running. If that matters to this, I don't know.
I don't know what Shield of Faith does here.
+2 AC. It's the
Okay, I'll take that into account.
24.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty damn good dex save for me, actually.
Did you add the +2? Because it's 26
Oh,
then. 26
with
then.
the +2. That is.
Wow,
You are getting
that's
better milk
super.
here, but the good news is you'll be taking half of this, as despite you having really no cover and just all the shots coming at you.
I do that anime Bleach like flash step. Suddenly appear in front of him. Oof. Oh boy.
As you take 21 arrow fire.
Yowza.
Oh, you have your divine pool, right? So
Yeah, I do. It's time to
use it, I think.
Oh yeah. Gonna use my lay on hands here to give me a little some.
You can feel free to lay on hands yourself.
Yep, I will.
As you, how does it actually look as the giant Amulet walks in like that and he lays on hands himself?
he as he walks in, he intones the righteousness of his cause, the glory of the conquest, and reveling in the bloodshed, proclaiming that such feeble mortal attacks could never stop someone appointed by the heavens himself, like Amanus. And then just the silvery glow suffuses him, and the arrows just pop out like yoink, 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 as the wounds close and blood recedes into him again. I am your divine judgment.
With that, though, you manage to push forward while significantly, not being too slowed down by it.
No,
It hurts, but it doesn't slow you down too much.
it's true. It's true. I'll drink one of my potions of greater healing. How about that as well?
Sure.
Because youse. Face tanking is very effective and very flavorful. Like it's like a power move, right?
It is.
But it also actually hurts a bit. So
Yes. But there's a reason you're the one who chose to do this.
oh yeah, for sure. There we go.
At this point, something weird starts to happen. As you kind of charge into that courtyard there is suddenly a loud crackle. And a very strange feeling in the air of mana, but something's wrong. Something's deeply wrong. Wait, one moment, I now have to roll something versus the enemy.
Jeez. What
Oh.
the fuck happened?
What I want to see as he charged into the courtyard is suddenly this large orange and black explosion blast out of the top side of the tower as a corrupted mana explosion goes off. The trap set by the Duchess, and that Vickers armed, he fell for it.
Oof.
Nice.
You aren't entirely sure what happens next, except slight mayhem descends upon the enemy army as all sorts, just kind of chaos begins to reign all over the place. As forces all over the place seem to start kind of getting very confused and also very alarmed by the giant explosion in the main.
Oof. Nice.
Damn. We're gonna get a morale victory before the siege ends, I think.
It's at this point we return back to Vickers.
Alright.
At this point, where would a Vickers have gone at this point?
Up.
Up.
The Duke. Oh yeah, he's going up there.
In
He
which
needs
case,
to make sure he's gone.
in which case, we then pan the camera from like Amulet's point of view, looking up at the explosion, to Vickers, who was currently like kind of back to the wall around the corner as like a massive rush of air went past him as he was standing outside the room when it detonated.
Oh yeah.
Vickers looks inside, and you see Duke Salasine standing there amidst a ritual circle. The corpse of his dead daughter in front of him, Huanri, from you know what,
Yep.
from the message you sent, and the corrupted mana explosion having gone off, the Duke stands there, and it's a horrific image. What you see currently, as within all reason, the front half of the Duke Vickers is nearly missing.
Oh dear.
As the detonation from the room went off, as he collapsed to the floor, still alive, but barely, having just been faced first with a ginormous detonation. The entire room is full of corrupted mana particles, and you can feel the blight heavy in that space. You can see crystals already growing on Duke Salasine's body from the blight being accelerated so much by the corruption that happened.
Alright.
You
I
have-
need
You
to
have,
make
you
sure.
have a potential opening here.
Yeah. Just to make absolutely sure, I'm gonna pop that last invisibility potion I have, and I'm gonna go in and finish him. I mean, I can throw. I'm gonna throw one of my like from 60 feet, I believe, is my range. So I don't want to get too close to the blight, right? But
Given the state of the area, you're going to have to get closer to properly aim this.
yeah, I'll get closer then. I'll take whatever it is.
Constitution saving throws, you're going to rush into the room where the Duke is.
Yeah, let's do it. Saving throw. It's an 18.
This is going to take all of that.
Okay.
But you force your way through, even as the corrupted mana stings. As the
Oh,
Duke's-
sorry, hold on. I applied damage to Isaac? Somehow?
That shouldn't be possible.
That shouldn't be possible at all.
How?
Isaac, why you take all this?
I
What's
will kill
happening with
Isaac.
it?
You damage
Okay.
yourself.
It's because I'm not on the field, so I can't click myself. I realize.
Oh, you are on the
Isaac
field.
just sitting in an alleyway with like mana crystals raining on his head, apparently.
Sorry. Let me take that damage again properly. Okay. There we go. Yeah.
As you kind of force your way into the room, the corrupted particles hang everywhere as you see the half-crystalline Duke lying on the floor, panting. As he looks at you, angrily, grabbing a dagger from his nearby table.
Aha, but I'm invisible though. Haha. So I cannot.
Then what
Unless
do
he
you
can
do?
someone see. I'm just gonna go up to him and stab him with one of my psychic blades straight through ahead.
Go ahead and roll to attack, and then sneak attack as required.
Okay, do I have advantage?
Yes, you do.
Alright. That is a 22 to hit.
That will hit.
Alright. That's the damage, and then we go sneak attack. Oh, such a low roll on the sneak attack.
That's not too bad, actually.
No. I do have a bonus action attack, though, so...
Sure.
Alright. I'm now non-invisible, so we'll do normal. It's
And
27.
yes, Jones, that is surprisingly accurate to the situation, just with more crystal.
Yep.
Yeah, so 27 for more damage.
As you stab on through, pinning him to the ground, a stab into him. The Duke looking at a look of terror as you appear out of nowhere in the mana-filled room. There's like anger, and there's shock, and there's surprise. But it's kind of all too much all at once here. Do you kill him?
Yes.
As you stab and kill the Duke right there, then and there.
If there's time, I imagine I'll probably take a bit more damage if I spend too long here, but I would like to shove the body in the hole just to make sure that no one else gets it.
You can quickly retrieve the body and flee.
I do have a very express fleeing option that I would like to try.
Oh,
Is there a window nearby that
there is
that
a large
they have
hole
been
in the wall.
shattered, but yeah.
Like there is a large like 10-foot radius hole in the wall now.
That leads outside, right? Like a drop?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna jump out. the
As
hole.
as essentially from down below where Almanus was looking up at the looking up from the courtyard, you now see Vickers leap out of where there was an explosion.
Is this a Michael Bay movie?
There are no hay bales in there.
I mean, the explosion happened. And there's like a few seconds later he's jumped out, so it's not like exactly like jumping out of the explosion, but
Yeah, but
Somewhere
you can see
in
that
Eagles.
his head is just wreathed in like a halo of purple energy, whatever fighting off the blight that's around him, as he just like shoots through the hole and starts like going into like a swan dive.
there is a very long drop in front of you.
Yes.
I presume you have something because otherwise I'm rolling basically 200 foot of fall damage almost.
I do. When he gets close to the ground, he is going to throw one of his daggers and teleport, which will arrest his momentum.
We're thinking of anti-portals.
Yes. So maybe 10, 20, I guess, because there might be some leeway for reaction time here. 20 feet before he hits the ground, he's gonna throw.
I feel like you're given how fast you're going to be falling.
Yeah,
I'm
give me how far up I can react from.
You're gonna need at least. I'm gonna say you're gonna need at least 30 feet of reaction time to pull
That's
this off.
fine. Yeah, we'll do 30 feet of reaction time.
So if you roll under 30 feet,
Yeah,
not fast enough.
that's fair. All right, and I will roll. That's a 1. That's 10 feet.
Fuck.
So yeah.
As unfortunately, speedy thing go in, speedy thing go out.
Yeah.
As you see Vickers appear, and
And then fall 20 feet or something. That said, though, it's not as bad as 100 whatever.
Yeah. You'll still be taking some damage here. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you the full damage from the fall, but you'll still be taking a decent chunk here because this did not go quite as planned.
Yeah, sure.
Just a few d6, not the max 20 d6.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that. Still alive.
As Vickers goes splat on the ground, surrounded by like just all the troops in the courtyard,
Yeah,
barely avoiding not getting impaled in someone's spear.
I know.
That was a dramatic jump.
I was.
I'll give a tiny bit of morale back to your core.
Ah, sweet. Yeah, like it hits the floor, and then the mental command comes out. He's dead. I have him. To the 5 of us. And then I flee.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
With that, and you having kind of escaped from there, to be honest, the rest of the siege goes pretty fast at this point, as the Duchess very quickly decides to make a statement over the city of her own here, as the Duke has like a massive banner of his own like hanging down from the top of the castle for his emblem. As you suddenly see that ignited by someone far in the distance, and the Duke's banner just start burning away.
Hmm.
I suppose, Amanus, you have just been told that he is dead. Is it? Would you like to finish this off in some way?
Well, as the proclamation gets to him, like the information gets to him, he will, if Vickers is close by, I assume he reports it, but I don't know exactly where I know from. But
Vickers basically jumped out of the tower, went splat next to you, basically
Yeah.
told you what happened.
Won't we have the psychic link?
Yeah, we
Yes.
do, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true. When I hear and then like splat. You know?
Hey, no. It's just a very, very heavy fall.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
sure.
You're sure you heard a crack somewhere, but
Can't be. Not exactly sure what I heard.
My back.
yeah.
Is there a proclamation you would like to make as king?
Yes. With that, he will get his. Will get the whole. Get the corpse out. Cut the head off the corpse. Slam the head on top of his halberd spike, and then just raise it up, roaring over the din that the Duke is dead. Cease and desist with all resistance. It is now futile. You have lost. Anyone laying down their weapons and submitting will be treated accordingly.
I like that it's a small, tiny head on your large halberd, like huge halberd.
Yep.
With the Duke's death, morale drains quickly. It's very hard to lead a fight when the leader is dead, especially as no one is able to take up the command in the Duke's place. Morale cannot recover, and the Duke's forces begin to quickly falter and scatter. Men dropping their arms, the various Blackfire mages retreating back to their cloister and just locking themselves inside, not wanting to fight anymore.
Like they get a damn choice.
Well, as the sunrise rises over the valley, victory is clear. While the city is slightly ablaze with smoke and manna kind of hanging deep in the air, damage to the walls and structures, houses and stables. Victory is clear. The new dawn rises. The ones in command is all of you.
Yes, victory.
Hooray.
The Duke is dead. That is the proclamation that is heard.
The Duke is dead. Long live the king.
That's right.
It takes some time for the flames of war to fully go out and the fighting to resolve. Several days, in fact, to fully resolve what happened here. But you have been here for some time already. A siege is not a quick endeavor. As we kind of flash forward a little bit, a few days here, a few days there, as the cleanup slowly begins. The Duchess's forces are invaluable in this effort. She brought additional logistics units with her, and very quickly, she helps manage to re-secure supply lines and help start ferrying the needed goods back and forth to get the city back into working order for you. And holding up her end of the bargain, she agrees. As you kind of had your agreement back and forth, that both of the Duke's personal territories of Upper and Lower Alcend, she will cede to you in the war, as per your agreement, as long as she has access as well to the Mage's Tower here.
Yes.
Which was your original agreement with her.
Yeah, that's fair.
As kind of cleanup and carnage kind of hangs over. There isn't much left of the Duke's personal court. Most of it was either killed in various manner explosions or through your previous assassination attempt. He does have a cloister of his dark mages, specializing and dabbling in extraplanar research. Do you keep the cloister, or do you choose to disband their dark research they've been doing?
I want the cloister, but not quite for quite such darkness.
We like research.
Yeah. No, I want the cloister.
Are you offering enmity then to the Blackfire mages who agreed to join you?
There will be. We'll have to think a little bit about that, because I don't necessarily like the idea of any of his loyalists, still
I'm
alive.
thinking
Exactly.
deep interrogations of where loyalties lie.
Yeah, it's the thing is too, is if they betray him, they might betray us, right? I don't trust spellcasters particularly much.
It's something you'll need to think about here of what to do with the cloister. As a decision will need to be made relatively quickly to figure out what you're doing with. It's hard to store a large group of spellcasters for a long time.
I honestly have a feel I kind of want to purge them.
Can we at least extract their research first?
I mean, there's books and stuff.
I mean, going over the cloister is a different issue, but it's more of what do you do with the mages of the cloister itself.
Can we at least keep the young mages, the ones that don't necessarily have allegiances?
I mean, we're not. I'm not referring here to all the sorcerers he was trading inside. I'm specifically referring to his elite Blackfire mage group.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah, it's not all. It's just the dark ones, like the ones that are.
The thing,
black
I mean,
mages.
it would be cool to have an elite Blackfire mage group, but
just
I
can't
have a
trust them.
sneaky suspicion they would immediately start conspiring against us
Yeah, now let's kill them. Okay.
on account of them being Blackfire mages.
So
long as
unle-
they
unle-
have their research.
So unless otherwise expressly excluded, most of the cloister is going to be relieved of their heads.
I am for a purge, unless someone else has any strong opinions.
Unless there's any
not
particular
really.
standouts, no.
The only particular standout of the set is one who approaches CL. A familiar one.
Oh yeah.
As CL, you had made a deal with one a while back on depending on who would win.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I picked the right horse. Or the correct king.
Previously functioning also as the occasional ambassador for the Duke as well. She does now owe CL a large boon or large favor, assuming she survives this. A deal's a deal, after all. So it's something for CL to go deal with later, perhaps. But beyond her, it sounds like the cloister is being just slaughtered here.
Yeah, I think that is for the best.
Okay. The cloister is purged. It's a bloody endeavor, but to be honest, so's war. It takes quite some time, though. But you manage to go through, purging them out, and begin your way of securing the castle as a whole. There isn't really much people left to tell you much about what the Duke has been up to otherwise, given his court is dead and all his loyalists are, let's be honest, dead. But doesn't really stop you. With time, if he had anything hidden here, it'll be uncovered. What perhaps stands out most, however, is a few days into recovery, while everything is going on. Kind of all of you are kind of still hanging around Altenstar, trying to kind of get order under control. There is a strange, like, trumpeting sound, almost like the trumpet of an Archon or something, that is blown in the distance. As very quickly, Amanus and the entire group is informed. There's a group of visitors who has just approached the gates of the city, requesting an audience with the ruler.
Well, that's certainly very brazen, given it's like the day after the siege.
That's quick, yeah.
As they also inform you, they are bearing the celestial coat of arms.
Ooh,
Uh-huh.
here they come.
How many of them are there?
A rather large group.
Okay. Is it bad that my first thought was kill half of them and let the rest come in? Like,
Jesus Christ.
that sends a message,
Yes,
doesn't
it is
it?
bad. Yes. Yes.
Which must be our diplomat.
That was me as a
Let's
player.
go for dinner. I know.
Ceres is delightful. I'm chaotic.
Put on your Palpatine robe.
Would you
Kill them immediately.
Are you going to go out to go greet the whoever has come to whoever arrived with the banners?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Who do they
Okay.
think they are?
Who do they think they?
Who are they?
Bring the banner. Bring the
Exactly.
fancy
Yeah,
banner.
bring the banner. Yeah.
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 Ours is way cooler than yours.
As you head on out, bearing your glowing arm, though it expanded its charge right now, it can't do the massive like flying in the sky effect at the moment.
Yeah, that was like a daily thing, but
That's kind of been expended for.
yeah.
But the forces have not tried. The forces that have arrived have not tried to push their way inside of the city. They have simply arrived at the gates and basically requested an audience while setting up camp outside.
We'll see what they want.
Perhaps thinking it's not best to simply charge into a city that's still trying to clean up.
Yeah.
Pretty much
bad
still a war
words.
zone, yeah. Don't come in here.
The group goes out to meet them, as you see various large tents set up. And yeah, this celestial coat of arms for the royal family all over the place as you walk out.
Are we talking like 50? 500?
Of their forces,
Yeah.
it's probably total. They've probably got an entourage totaling 100 people.
Okay. Wow.
It's not enough to take a city with, and clearly not enough to try and take a city with. But it's also enough that if you attack them, that's going to sting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Especially given they do not look like pushovers that have been sent. And your forces are still pretty wounded at the moment. As the group walks out, presumably Amanus in front and the rest of the main party in tow.
Yes.
Who you see as you kind of enter out into the large square is a very familiar face. As you see a woman standing before you with blonde, golden hair, almost like strands of thin gold, eyes that pierce like the dawn, gleamed in gold, silver, and blue armor. And though, while having better complexion, less washed out by the most troubled of times, the resemblance is uncanny to someone else in your group.
Oh.
Well.
Ah, so the traitor shows herself, huh?
As you see, bearing her halo and radiance, the wings pulled back, and her own banner currently ablaze behind her, with a glowing emblem. Queen Zalia Dawn-Crown, the radiant queen of the Celestial Empire. Who has a genuinely shocked and bright look on her face as she sees the group walk out, as she very quickly, no weapons drawn, approaches towards Amanus.
All right. Amanus will stop.
Dear brother, I heard rumors of your survival, but I did not fully believe them to be true.
I am sorry to disappoint you, sister.
Far from a disappointment, though I do wonder where you've been all of these years.
Looks around slightly and says, most of them I spent drinking my sorrows away, trying to hide from the assassins that so brutally almost killed me. Afraid for my life, until one day I realized there's only one way to tackle the problem. Sort of grips Solskjaer a little harder and looks around. Conquest of my enemy.
Yes, how's you, Ceres? They sent numerous blades after you, and some kind of despicable hound from our finding.
Amanus looks at her up and down. He will use his divine sense just to make sure there isn't any, obvious skullduggery going on here.
Your divine sense allowing you what?
I can detect good and evil. I can sense hallowed. I can sense celestials, fiend, and undead within 60 feet.
It's a pretty definitive answer to you, as you're getting good and celestial.
Oh,
Kind of exactly what you'd expect.
yeah. Just making sure it's her. And not some fancy illusion here.
It's been far, far too long. I genuinely thought you were dead. There's an empty coffin buried in the primary cemetery with your name on it.
Yeah. Yeah, he smiles slightly. I'm sorry I missed the
I had you
funeral.
buried next to father.
I'm gonna get sort of a look into the middle distance a little bit. As he slips into reverie for a brief second, then pulls himself out of it and says, "Dear sister, I have sacrificed much and rediscovered much of my purpose up here in the north. It has not been without costs. Companions have been lost. But, as you can see, we have won a great victory here this day. Nevertheless, I am surprised to see you here on these fields of battle. As far as I understood, you were on some sort of genocide in the south."
Abhorrent word. But you are correct. I was running crusades in the deep south, purging our ancestral enemy once and for all. A necessity that, though I regret, it is key.
"And how, pray tell, have you made it all the way up here north so quickly? Surely the urgency of the crusades would take precedence."
Not in comparison to me getting signal that you were actually alive. A message was sent out here from Altenstar back to the capital, saying that an army had descended upon the doorsteps. And when one of my advisors looked into it and confirmed it was you, they immediately contacted me, and I arranged for my court mage to teleport me up here, along with my entourage.
He nods. Looks over the entourage. I assume this is her personal guard.
It does look like a decent bit of the royal guard here, along with a couple of advisors.
The gold cloaks, as it were.
Yes. It's not all of them, but it's, clearly some gold cloaks plus some advisors.
Yes. Well, Amanas looks her up and down again and says, "I will..."
Also, I have to note this at this point. All the gold cloaks have knelt, not only towards her, but also clearly taking knee in Almus's direction.
I mean, that certainly sweetens his mood.
So, they're acknowledging you.
He will look at her then and say, "You will forgive me, sister, for being rather suspicious. The culprits of my attempted assassination was never caught, as I understand it, and you were installed very quickly after my presumed death."
You know how the Empire must be. There must always be someone on the throne. There must always be a ruler for this place. For without, only darkness would befall our land.
That is certainly true. He will look around, see if I assume Ceres is standing next to him or close by.
You can assume your entire party has been summoned and just hanging back a little bit from the conversation, but they're there.
Amanas will then turn to Ceres and say, "Lady Talaniel, I realize that we have only occupied this place for a short while, but I am sure you can find us a suitable venue within the castle for a more proper sit-down and meeting."
Ceres, I suppose at this point is looking at Celia with contempt. But as Amanas turns to talk to her, she looks at him and her expression softens. But then darkens again when he wants to actually bring her into the halls. She seems to ponder for a few seconds and then gives a half nod. And then I guess we'll turn and stride off to go sort something out.
Yes.
Thankfully, since the siege did not fully conclude, the inner part of the palace wasn't fully wrecked. Ignore it if you ignore the top floors of the major tower.
Get blown out.
But the dining room is still fine because you didn't actually siege the keep itself yet. You got close, not quite.
Yeah. We will. Amanas will then we'll reconvene in the dining hall, so we don't need to stand on the precipice of the city.
Very well.
This is a meeting he is quite surprised of having, and so
You invite her and her entourage into the safety of the city.
yes. Although the entourage, she could pick 10 of her personal guard to come in.
Obviously, she does not expect all of her guards enter into the dining room with you.
Yeah.
But obviously, at least have it so that her entourage doesn't have to camp outside the walls. They can at least be in some safety.
Yeah, they can be furlong, somewhere inside.
You can find a large open crater somewhere in the city for them to go and sit from.
Like where
Surrounded
where
by
like,
troops.
yeah, well, where Godzilla Isaac smashed with the golems or something.
Yeah, she will bring a regular diplomatic escort for her station, which is still, sizable, but she's not bringing full army in with her because that doesn't make sense. Just personal bodyguards. She's still in a war-torn place after all.
Once we have reconvened in the dining room, maybe some refreshments have been dug up from some basement somewhere.
That could have been done. Vickers does know where a great wine cellar was. He was skulking through that earlier.
Sure, and all the best spots.
And then I assume, Amina's sitting down on the table, his advisors and party, skulking about or sitting nearby. Vic is, in a shadow somewhere, I assume.
For this, I think he wants to be present.
Yeah.
And not in the way that, just standing there. Stealth is often, hiding yourself, but you can also be present in a way that it's hard to not notice.
You blend into the crowd situation.
Yeah.
Well, as we sit down, will nod towards his sister, Zalia, and says, you remember Vicus, my Master Whispers?
It's been many years, Master Mercy.
Perhaps surprised I'm still alive.
I am, but that is only more due to the spreading nature of your arts.
As will indicate.
It's known to take many people's lives early.
Will indicate towards Cyrus and Lady Talaniel, of course, remains as my court wizard and chief diplomat.
Your magical strength has grown much. I can sense that just from here.
Cyrus pointedly doesn't reply.
Would Isaac be present?
Yeah, probably. He likes to be in places he's not supposed to be in.
In human form?
No, he's
Yeah,
still a giant
yeah.
crocodile. I just wanted this huge crocodile to be just in the dining room.
I also like the idea of the giant crocodile keeping an eye on her troops outside, just glaring at them.
Just glaring
No,
at the troops.
The issue with the giant crocodile is that it's incredibly dumb
super
and would
dumb.
start trying to eat people.
Probably not a good thing around the highly armed troops outside them.
The mental
No,
image is immaculate, though.
Isaac in his full druid attire would basically just be standing slightly off to the side, close enough to the king to show that he's with him, but still sort of looking out of place, and that is something he very much enjoys.
Well, Amnas will indicate towards him and says, this is Isaac Redtalon. He serves as the sage of my council.
The old ways, yes.
I like to think of myself of an innovative spirit.
He quirks the head at that slightly, but doesn't comment, just quirks the head at the concept of druid and new ways.
Could
She can hear some stories of the battle, probably about flying crocodiles and whatnot. So
You can regale her over the dinner about some stories.
Cyrus
Not exactly what I meant, but close enough.
could Cyrus have also got Mikara into the halls?
If you wish.
I don't trust this queenie. Cyrus
You have-
extra
you have-
doesn't.
Free to bring Makara into She says absolutely nothing to the Queen.
And lastly, we'll indicate towards Seal. And say, this is Lady Seal. She serves at the court bard and chief researcher on many arcane and lore matters.
Seal does like a courtesy bow.
It's a,
And
it's a pleasure to meet you, though I must say you are oddly familiar to me. Not sure why. I do apologize if we've met prior.
I'm gonna give Seal a side glance. Like,
You-
what?
I'd have heard rumor or two about me and my little family thing, but that is far minor for you to care.
I do apologize. I've not been able to keep up with the most recent court gossip, hence the crusade and all.
It has been a long time, and I think you should focus to your brother.
She nods and doesn't probe deeper, perhaps thankfully for Seal.
Now, with the presentations and pleasantries out of the way, dear sister, I must ask you some rather pointed and difficult questions, I'm afraid.
As I'm sure you must have many.
Were you aware of the assassination attempt before it happened?
No.
Looks over for sensing motives on Vickers' part.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be insiding constantly here. Like,
Feel free to roll insight after any statement. Go ahead.
24.
I don't think I can beat that, but no, I can't beat
Ye-
that.
Either she's a supreme liar or you believe her.
Well, Vic is so mentally informed of that.
It really should be hidden rolls, but it's fine.
Ah, fair, yeah.
Oh,
No,
let's
it's
do,
fine.
do it.
We'll just each one hidden anyway.
Do the next round of hidden then.
What is it? Blind GM roll?
Yeah, it'd be blind GM roll.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know who perpetrated the assassination attempt?
I strongly believe it was House Uriel, who we have in fact punished.
Sorry, what was the name of that house again?
House Uriel.
Oh, my notes are so slow right now.
Hidden. How do I hide this? Oh, blind.
Blind
Okay.
means I can see it, but you can't.
Yeah, I can't see anything. That's good. Hopefully you got it.
I'm just trying to remember if that's the... No, it's not. Never mind. Whatever. Go.
You, as far as you can both tell, again, she's not actively trying to deceive you at the moment.
Right.
And she will continue speaking. Though, by punish, I do mean in the bring in the church, the stakes, and the holy fire. You know, standard procedure given regicide.
Is the house destroyed then?
To my knowledge, yes. Though there is one member we haven't been able to account for.
Who?
The eldest of the house. Well, eldest male of the house. He managed. We never accounted for him. Even after several years of searching, he's disappeared. I'm sad to say.
I gotta incite that. I feel.
As far as you can tell, she's again not trying to actively deceive.
Do you have a name?
A Siren Uriel.
Do I know who that is?
You can roll a history check.
Sure can.
I was gonna say, do you want that 20 with my aid?
I mean, if you're gonna give it, sure.
Yeah.
Alright, 21 then.
The name's vaguely familiar to you. You know the house. It's relatively small. Well, you say relatively small. It's a moderately sized house inside the capital, known for its very loud objections to trade policy that have occurred,
I see.
and who also lost several people to a plague that broke out during Amanus's rule.
So they certainly would have a motive.
You don't know much about the individual in question.
I see.
It's been a while since you perused the royal court.
Yeah.
Would Ceres's courtier background help at all? Actually, she would have known all the movers and shakers of the court specifically.
Roughly similar information, though you do know the house was strongly involved in the trade of arcane goods. Just a bit of additional information for you.
Mm-hmm.
If that helps or not, don't know. But the same information that Vic has rolled. So you don't know much about the individual off the top of your head.
Amanus is a bit perplexed. I mean, to his mind, part of him doing this stuff was to find and punish whoever tried to kill him. Now they're already sort of dealt with, so that's a bit makes him a bit stumped for a split second, perhaps. Because in his world, problems don't really solve themselves. That's not something he's used to. He will look at his dear sister, and he will say, "So what exactly would be the next step then between us? The throne is rightfully mine, yet you sit on it."
That is the more pointed question, I suppose. If I'm to be honest with you, dear brother, and I hope I can be, we are family, I would not believe it would be best for you to return back to the throne as you had it. Though you have said you have changed, and I would wholly like to believe that, it would be much harder to convince all of those who did curse upon your name. I'm sure you know many did curse upon your name for what happened in your rule. Your fault or not. To put you back in charge would immediately cause massive unrest among the entire kingdom. Especially given your supposed demise, which would bring up, is already an issue we're going to have to deal with either way.
He looks at her up and down, and says, "So then what, dear sister? Do you propose to just keep me up here as some sort of barbarian king of the north?"
I wouldn't put it any such way, though you interpret it as you could. But what I would offer to you, if you would so accept it, is though we have not had one in several hundred years, I would be happy to name you the Archduke of the Reach, and invite you in sewing to be part of my court, and we can rule over the kingdom together.
Ceres laughs, like out loud.
Amanus's eyes thin. I see.
I do not want you stuck up here, but as it stands, this would be a solution which you would have power. We could ease you back into the courtly world, and you would have a position of power with me in the capital. There's much to be done. The crusade is still ongoing, and I could use my brother at my side.
It is certainly something that I will need to think on and talk to my court about.
She looks very pained as you say this, but nods.
I have a bit of a memory question because I'm
Go ahead.
back when we were in Freyfrost, hiding out. It was them that like killed the ruler, right? The Baron or whatever.
It was the Inquisition that did it.
Right, but the Inquisition is an arm of the Radiant Crown, right?
It's an arm of the church. The church
Yeah.
supposedly answers to the crown, but that's, I mean, it's an arm. It's a loose.
Okay.
It's a loose
okay.
thing.
Yeah, it was more like the radical side of the church, and then even that was, I think we found that the Duke was actually funding this arm of the
There-
Inquisition.
There was some corruption going on and
Yeah.
similar things.
Okay.
I
The
sat
fire
there.
elementals and whatnot was.
I don't
was
think
his.
we can. I don't think we can pin the good Count's death
We-
on her.
No, we don't have much, as you said, legal recourse against her at this point. Especially if she has, taken, actually eradicated one of her noble houses as punishment for the assassination attempt. That said, we don't know if it actually was them.
For all we know, they could have been a loyalist house to Amanas, and they were just extinguished.
Exactly.
We could bump into a siren like next week and learn of her slaughtering them all because they fought against her rule.
Yep.
I have a question for you.
She peers over, still looking a little bit wounded at Amanas's words, but nodding.
To perhaps frame this better, from our perspective, at least mine, we were ousted from the crown, and yet now it still seems like it pushes us away.
I'm sorry if that's your perspective, but as it stands, in my oath and my duty to this land, I cannot risk throwing the entire thing into civil war over installing someone that people would not approve. It's a brutal answer, but in the end, my oath to keeping the peace must come first.
You took an oath of peace?
I took an oath to our realm, to our people.
Out of the ground.
Prosperity for us.
At the expense of whom?
Why does it have to be that way?
I'm sure the elves down south have a different perspective.
As I already said, what's happening down there is regrettable, though I can't get into full details here. But there are reasons for what I must do down there. I'm sure you've heard many a horror story.
Amanas will actually have a rather sympathetic look on his face, as much as he can muster that towards her during this. I mean, he has been brought up in a world and a family that has regarded these elves with just vehemence and disgust. So fighting against them for him is like of course you do. It's as natural to him to send a crusade to retake the holy city. It's something that he has been trained.
And she was trained the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. He will look at her, look at the rest of the court. If no one makes a move to speak, he will say, "We will talk this offer over, Zalia. And I will give you my answer within a day or two.
I understand. Though I don't know if it'd be something you'd accept, dear brother. But it has been over a decade. Would you allow me at least the kindness of a hug with my dear brother?
There's a range of emotion, playing across his face for a short few seconds. And then he will slowly nod. Very well.
As she steps over, the clanking of her armor on the floor.
Yep.
As she heads over, though she's left her weapon at her chair, to wrap Amanus in an embrace, which is not something he's had probably in a very long time.
He cannot remember when he hugged someone. So this is very awkward for him. That way when, someone who doesn't really know how to hug or want to hug does it, it is quite clearly, something he does not enjoy particularly, but he'll do it. Family ties and all.
Pray to the Allmaker that no matter what decision you make, no matter what goes on ahead, that hopefully our blades do not ever have to cross. I'm so glad that you're alive.
Insight.
Those of you inciting, again, you still do not see any obvious deception in her words. Like, everything seems genuine, almost sickeningly hopeful, like you'd expect from Eliza.
Yeah, she's like that.
How young is she? I mean, it's hard to tell, I guess, in ASMR.
I mean, given she's an Azamar, her proper age... How old is Amanus?
Amanus is in his 50s or 60s. Look.
Ceres would know her actual date of birth, like what year she was born.
The point
she
is
was there.
the point is she's technically like a decade older than Amanus is.
Yeah, because she's the elder sister.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Amanus got the throne was a bit of a inheritance situation.
Yep, it's true. I think I don't have it in front of me right now because
about a decade older than Amanus is the point.
Yeah.
Though she looks a decade younger.
Yeah, Amanus is in his early 50s.
She looks like she could be in her 20s still, with her appearance. It's like this flawless Azamar skin with metallic features still.
Mm-hmm. She always had perfect skin.
Always did.
She didn't fall, so.
She kept her celestial protection the entire time, so you didn't.
Could I look over the queen to see if she has any jewelry or magic item, just like the ring of mind shielding, that blocks lying and detecting lying?
You can peer over her, but unless you want to actively cast a spell, you're trying to examine her.
I'm not actively casting a bit. It's just
You can see that she has magical accessories on her, but you wouldn't know what they do.
Oh, actually, Dark, I've got the ring of truth telling that would have given me advantage. Actually, forgot about that. To see if someone's lying.
Go ahead and re-roll your ones just in case. Same results. Same results.
Yeah, okay.
I can flick the auto advantage button on my end.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah, same results though.
Right.
As far as you can tell, she's not trying to deceive. Or if she is, she's a damn good liar.
We cannot tell it anyways.
Which one is hard to tell, but you know. Also, I do hope you'll take my offer, but either way, I don't know if you remember slightly before the Night of Black Stars occurred, I had just recently had child around that time.
You know.
I would like you to meet your nephew at some point, if you'd so be interested.
Oh god, she's pulling on all the heartstrings.
Oh,
Oh no!
Ceres is sickened.
It's a cute nephew. How can I resist?
Anyway, I will. I understand this is a lot to take in. I don't know what you must have thought of me over the last decade, but genuinely, I'd only heard speculative rumors, and I didn't believe them until I got confirmation recently.
Thinks that needs to invest in some anti-scrying on himself somehow. Like a
picking
mind
some-
blank or something.
I think we're basically ready to start doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. He nods and says, "It has been a adventurous few last year, to say the least. I have come far, and I am much different from the one I once was. In a sense, that Amanas died that night, for real."
She nods. I heard you've been going by the name of Zeal.
Yes. It fit with my new purpose.
Well, I'm not sure if I should call you then Zeal or Dawn-Crown for this purpose, but either way, know that, regardless of what your answer is to me, the Crown fully acknowledges your claim over... She just kind of gestures to, like, the castle around.
Mm-hmm.
You declared an honourable war, and to the best I can tell, you won an honourable fight. The rules of divine conquest are with you, and I fully support against any who would object to your rule here.
He nods. Yeah, I appreciate the gesture.
I know it likely does not mean much in the face of it all, but I will take my leave then, if you need time.
Yes.
Do you believe you'll make the decision quickly, or should I simply leave a messenger here to return with your answer?
If you do not have your answer with the next dawn, I will inform you that we need more time.
I understand.
Then good fortune to you, sister, and good luck in your endeavors.
If you need me, I will be with my entourage. It's been good seeing you.
As she leaves, Amanas turns to the others and says, "Bring in." Well, he looks around. I suppose most of the court are not here. I don't think.
Most of your council would not be present. Only those involved in the fight.
Yes.
Like, most of your people are not fighters, so they wouldn't necessarily be here at the moment.
Amanas will send will send word. Prepare dinner, serve it here. We're gonna be talking here for a bit about this. As then, as everyone have had a little bit to chill out or gather their thoughts, he will simply turn to the rest of the group and say, "Well, that was surprising, to say the least. Now, as my advisors, I require your advice. What do you think of her offer?"
Well, I don't know her, nor do I really feel like I know you quite as well as I would like to. But if there's one thing I learned, it's usually that when things seem too easy, they usually are.
You think it's a trap, some kind?
Not a trap, but it could either mean that there are ulterior motives at play, politics and all that. Not really my area of expertise. But also, it could mean that there are simply dangers that you're not yet considering, which is more often the case in my experience.
Might I remind you that, while indeed maybe your sister has all good intentions and in fact is not aware of the crown as a whole, it is not just her, it is her court, it is her council. She herself may not realize that she may be manipulated. And I believe that we've gone far enough not to just swear to another.
Would you then propose that we go to war with her?
No. But a vassal, a place in her court, it is only putting you closer to the danger that once almost took your life.
I will certainly concede that the idea of becoming a vassal is not appealing. You will stand up, look out like through the window over the courtyard and over to her camp. Hands folded behind him as he stares out through the window. Still, it is a chance to re-establish our presence. Make it official that I survived and I am back. And gaining entrance to the halls of power within the Empire itself could open up many possibilities.
Remind me, Aminas. What was your oath?
Smile slightly. Indeed. Indeed. And that
It's-
troubles me.
It sounds to me like your sister is looking to appease the army at her doorstep that has proven the weakness of her empire. That her duke can lose complete and utter control in a span of months and lose his head to effectively a dead man. She wants to placate you, put you under her boot. She may not have been the one that tried to kill you all those years ago. In fact, I think she's quite naive. There's a reason your father put you on the throne.
Thinking back, was there a specific reason, or was it just male inheritance, like
Your,
male heritage?
your father didn't give the exact reason. She was skipped over for some reason, but you don't know. Like, it was a big deal in court, and she objected heavily to it at the time.
Yes.
But your father never gave the actual reason why. His closest he gave was, "This is the God's will," which is a very unhelpful statement.
Certainly.
Though your father was known for having supposedly he said he communicated with the archangels quite a bit.
Well, if you got it from the archangels, you know.
But what he got from the archangels, you don't know. So.
She, looks up. She's not been, looking at Aminas for this time. She looks up at him and then says, "You know I swore mine. You know that that's to the rightful ruler The one that's meant to have the crown. You bend the knee, I won't.
Nods slightly.
There's also the thing I mentioned to you the other day, the vision, I suppose, I had. I saw her doing something. I am assuming I was shown that for a reason, and I also assume that whatever spirit or force has shown that to me does not approve of it. And I mean, it is a lot of conjecture, but if there are spirits in Sokai that don't approve of her doing, and you want to keep it your capital, it would be a good idea to try to appease those spirits.
It is an interesting offer. And I do agree that it is likely made out of some sort of desperation on her part. So there's a question for you, DDS.
Go ahead.
The Archduke, what would that entail? Like what lands would fall under Amanas's sway?
So officially, by making you the Archduke of the Reach, that would essentially grant you pretty. I mean, but you see a little mini map we've got. Firstly, all the imperial provinces under that would technically fall under you, including the Duchess would fall under you.
I mean, that's appealing. I'm not gonna lie.
Duchess, because as Archduke, technically you'd be her boss.
Right.
But we would also be effectively backstabbing her.
Maybe.
Enforcing stronger control over her.
I mean,
We agreed to
Or
being...
enforcing as much control as we want. That's the thing.
Mhm.
We don't necessarily have to,
Yeah.
because they'll keep the deal as such.
They would essentially grant you all of this plus an extra like 2 provinces just south of here.
Yeah, that's certainly not bad.
And though the provinces south of here each already have rulers, but they just become your vassals, obviously. So
Yes.
it would essentially grant you like the northern, maybe not quarter, but fifth of the empire.
Would it be since
Somewhere in between.
Amanas is the king, he is of royal line and royal blood, he has sworn an oath. Would he be required to swear an oath to her if he took the Archduke position, or would he be more of an autonomous state situation, legally speaking, or like the traditionally speaking?
I mean, traditionally speaking, this is not a necessarily uncommon situation. For example, a ruler might give out provinces to their children and such. Their children would still be bound by the same oaths of vassalage. To serve the empire loyally. To assist their ruler in wars and such, and the standard kind of vassal contract would still apply. Sure, you typically have it slightly looser than the average ruler would, but you would still be serving the crown of the empire, as it were.
Right.
Though being on the council, of course, also gives you more leverage even there. It would. You'd be
Yes.
assisting the crown. Like that you will.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, he is the crown, right? So
The problem is the actual crown is down south, sitting in a fancy castle.
The question is, do you want to take the crown you once had or to forge your own?
yes, that is indeed a question, and I have pondered that quite a bit over the past several months. Retaking the crown would certainly secure myself and the empire, and I feel that is a just and right cause. But then again, forging ahead and doing something on your own appeals to my sensibilities as well. There are many forms of conquest, although swearing an oath of fealty to her would be out of the question.
What was it that you used to swear? Strength above all?
It smiles.
All I see is before us is a stronger foe. So the question is, are you going to rise above them, or are you going to... Well, he lets that drift off.
He has a crooked grin and says that implication certainly can be interpreted in many ways, Vicus. I am choosing to interpret it the most generous. If, for example, she would agree to give me this Archduke status, many provinces and sway would fall under me quite quickly. With that as a power base, we could operate through the empire at large at a
Working
more,
inwards.
yes, working on an unprecedented scale, and our influence would grow quickly. As would our problems, I imagine, but nevertheless, if she accepts me as a partner, so to speak. He trails off, looks out again. War is dangerous. She's fighting in the south. I am seeing before me many things could go wrong down there. If I am established, recognized, as she said, eased back into the consciousness of the Empire. If something happens to her down there, I would, in one stroke, reclaim the Empire.
You are coming into the people's consciousness, Amanas. She heard of you and that you have risen. That will trickle down to the people. She can't keep that a secret. Kings, queens, and empires like to think they can keep things from the populace. But that never happens. If she knows you exist, if she's willing to declare you a duke, which she has already said, that even if you do not bend the knee, that she'll recognize your claim here. That she's openly admitting that her brother, the true king, is still alive, and she is but a usurper.
Well, she's not directly a usurper.
She claims the crown.
After his death.
He's not dead.
Assumed death. Yes.
That's still
This
usurping
complicates
the throne.
things, a lot of things. But I do have a question for you, Amanas.
Yeah.
You speak all in this way of striking down your sister. Do you have any thought of aiding him or her? You see her as an enemy already.
I do not know what to see her. She is a usurper. I am the rightful king. But the situation is complicated. She is correct in that the throne could not have stood empty after my presumed death. And the move to remove me was quite clearly to crown her, otherwise she would have been removed as well. It was me specifically that needed to go. The one who stood to benefit the most of it was certainly her. But as you see, she is filled with holy and serious purpose. And skull and dagger.
She shines very brightly, but she might not be the one who gets the most benefit.
Oh,
A lot of things lurk in the dark.
She's not the puppet master, she's just a puppet.
Yes.
The West Master.
We don't know.
That's
if it is this patriarch of House Uriel. Well, he's still at large, but they might also have just been a puppet in this whole mess. There might be something behind it all. We don't know. And the question is to plumb those depths and find the truth and truly reclaim what was lost. Is it better for us to play along with her for now, while we bide our time and build our base, or do we cut ties officially and position ourselves as a a breakaway province.
I
Because
would say
that
it's
might
better.
indeed provoke her into having to take more direct military action than what she has done so far.
I would say it's better to play along.
No. The Queen is busy with her fighting in the south of the Blood Elves.
Yeah,
And
but
we can, if we bend the knee to her now, it only strengthens her position. The Empire to the east lays in wait, dealing with orcs. She knows she's in a precarious position, dealing with a crusade or of a genocide on one side, and an upstart king that wishes to take her throne back in the north. She's weak, she knows it. If we give in to her, we just bolster her up. We play into the enemy. We play into the people who tried to kill you, kill us all. No.
with the assumption that she is the enemy.
I'm not saying she's the enemy. I'm saying the people who want her in power are the enemy. The
Yeah,
people
but
who
if
want
we
her to
play
stay strong.
along, like we can fight those enemies.
No, we
And
can't. We don't
why
know who
wouldn't
they
we?
are. We are putting
We
ourselves
can just
in the
look
court.
into them, into the king's court. Otherwise, we are gonna walk to the king's court and burn it to the ground. We will
Good.
find nothing in the ashes.
We'll find corpses. The people that control the Queen have enough power to control the crown. If we put ourselves in the council there, do you not see how we
Do you
literally
think
walk
we
into
would
the
just
lion's den?
fall? We already walk into the lion's den.
No, we strode into it with an army at our back. We didn't walk into it unarmed, with no protection, surrounded by an army. The greatest army on this continent.
I shall disagree with your view, Lady Ceres.
I swore my oath to the king, to his crown. I will not
I do
see
not
the
question
queen.
your oaths.
Sarah, at this point, Sarah stands up and she pauses. Says, "Amanas, you can kneel for all I care. I won't. I will still follow you. I will still fight for you to have that crown on your head. But I will not kneel to her. She is a usurper, and I swore that oath to your grandfather long before she was even thought of." And she walks out.
I'm still looking out over the courtyard. And says, "This might take longer than we thought."
You kind of look out over the courtyard. You can see the Queen's brigade out there, all intent, her speaking of her people in the distance there. She's very easily visible given her halo.
Yes.
Literally a target glowing on her head, so.
What killer? What would, out of curiosity, Amanas would like to know the positions of the rest of the people. And Mikara, for example, what does she think of all of this?
Makara's position is not the most insightful. She will admit she has a bit of a disdain for the entire politics down here.
Certainly.
As it's a bit of a mess, and she hasn't fully gotten over the full situation, for example, what happened to Ceres' mother.
Certainly.
There has the two people split apart quite a bit. As far as she sees it, though, it's your options as it goes. I mean, you've pretty much laid out your options in her mind as she looks over. You can try to work within and try to play the dance of the court and build up inside. or you've got to take her on at the doorstep with an army. An in-between option is, I mean, because if you acknowledge being a duke under her, regardless if you take her title or not, you're still under her.
Yeah.
So, are you fighting your own empire, or are you being part of your empire? That's what she sees. Are you fighting? Are you fighting the people you say you should be ruling, or not?
Yeah.
But she's rather disinterested overall in either way.
What would be the position of our dear ally, the Dragon Duchess, Edesia? Because if she's like, oh no, fuck that, I'm out of here, like that might it's gonna be hard to battle the queen if we don't have Edesia and her backing here.
The concept of you ruling over her clearly raises some ire.
Mm-hmm.
She clearly does not like the idea of bowing a knee to you. Not like I'm going to immediately rebel if you do that. But like, this isn't what we agreed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That said, if you leave, could be the she does make the note. If you leave, I mean, could encourage other factions to potentially split apart.
Mm-hmm. Follow the new banner. The old ways are corrupt and must be burned down. The empire must be ripped out by the root and then reborn like a phoenix. That sort of story can certainly be told.
She'd call herself the queen in the north and call it a day.
Yeah, you know from past experience that she's already been kind of rattling to try and become like an independent duchess.
Yeah.
Outside the empire. Essentially, from what you can gather, this would essentially, if you left, this would give her the perfect excuse just to leave herself separately.
She's literally, some of her people literally call her like the Silver Queen in the North or something like that, to that effect.
Even though she can't get the Archduchy title for the North, but she's still effectively called that by people.
So, like, she won't bend to us. She'll ally with us. I don't see her bending anytime soon.
She will do her own thing up here.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
And her own thing seems to be trade, which is cool, but yeah.
We might have to deal with her on a more permanent basis at some point if she becomes too unruly.
Potentially.
As it stands, though, if you meanwhile got the full support of the council below, that would basically put a stop to her ability to leave.
Yeah.
As, like, she openly acknowledged she can't really fight if like everything came down on her doorstep united.
Yeah.
Even she can't fight that off.
Yeah.
If one of her borders was entirely safe because you had left, then she would have, like, defending her southern border, she can do that. That's fine.
Yeah, it's mountains.
Yeah, like she can defend her southern mountains without much issue. If you side of the queen, she's screwed and she has no choice but to stay in the empire and be loyal because you could just like
walk through the tunnel.
You are like you are like a week and a half away from her capital by horse. Like, this is not an issue.
Yeah.
Like, she would not have long to prepare if you declared something.
Almost give me more inclined to ally with the queen now when I hear this.
It basically goes both ways, Either, as it stands.
If you want to give her some leeway, you can do a political marriage.
I mean, that is technically true. That would technically make the entire North completely united then.
I did suggest such a thing, but I think she likes being her own person too much.
It would take some diplomacy.
It is simply political marriage.
You could have your mistresses and whatnot on the side.
I also do have to note, then you could have half dragon celestial children.
Yeah, but I don't think that's
cool.
the point. Her thing is she wants to be independent because she wants to do the ruling. If she's your political queen, she doesn't really get to do the ruling.
I mean, she would still have control of the duchies that she controlled.
Yeah.
But it would be then you'd be under a united banner together. So.
I mean, Amenaz's goal is certainly not to create some sort of United Nations. His ultimate goal is to rule.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The question is, are you rolling from within or from without?
Yes, that is the question.
Are you going to disassemble the empire that your family has had to claim it again, or are you going to work from what already exists inside?
It is certainly not an easy choice.
It's not.
It is a kingdom built on tradition. It is built on Amanas's family, and to destroy that is something that just fills him with
Because
disgust.
to reject her offer would be basically, essentially, for you to fulfill your oath, you would have to cause civil war. Then
Yes. Exactly.
it
So
would disassemble the empire essentially and rebuild it. So
yes, and that would expose it to all manner of trouble. Maybe it won't survive, but maybe what rises from it will be better.
Which do you take at the end?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good answer. Both paths have ups and downs, certainly. I think Amanas is more of the war type, like actually swearing an oath himself and bending the knee is not for him. That is even in face of tradition and his family's legacy. It is difficult to break that part, of him. He might become an oath breaker paladin if he.
Yeah, as it stands, she is hoping that you will take it. Obviously,
Yes, obviously.
as at least she's claiming, she wants you back by her side. She wants the family to be reunited again. The royal family to be one.
Hey, what was your actual oath like? Specifically, was it to reclaim the crown?
Yes. He swore he would reclaim the crown, and along the way also, find and destroy whoever tried to kill him.
As it stands, both routes can get you to the same end, just through different means. So.
But his oath of conquest was focused on the empire itself and the crown.
Yeah.
Which is why leaning towards saying no to the offer, because that is what I would see be most in line with the oath. If he had an oath of vengeance, then it wouldn't matter. So much.
It's actual conquest.
It is actual conquest.
But as it stands, this will be up to you to decide. I noticed some people. I haven't been able to do any prep for the next chapter because it highly depends on a decision at the end of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a decision I need the answer to before I can do any prep.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Well, I'll put it out of character now. What do you guys think? What would be the most interesting option for us?
So, out of character, for me, it's pretty clear. If you decide to be like, yeah, I'll take your offer, I'll be part of your court, I'll bend the knee and all that, it feels like the easy way out. Like, you're not accomplishing your ultimate goal of actually ruling. You're basically saying, okay, I give up, this is good enough.
Yeah.
And good enough isn't good enough, right?
I mean,
yeah.
I have to note you can still go up from there because you just deal with internal court schemings to move your way around.
Yeah, but then you have to deal with politics.
Yeah, and
guess what? In a political style game, who guessed?
Yeah, but like,
yeah,
you become part of this system that you're trying to fight.
Yeah,
but it's also part of the system he wants to claim. So
yeah, but like claim via force, right?
Yeah.
Force and fear and domination and all that. Alan is not like a lawyer type who'll slowly do political maneuvering, is he?
No, that hasn't been his style so far, certainly. But that is on generally the oath itself certainly spurs him into more violent action. But then we also have he hasn't had a proper opportunity to try anything like that either necessarily. The politicking stuff we have done a fair bit of it. But hasn't been so much courtly intrigue because the court is very concentrated. It is a handful of people around Amaras. So intriguing is there hasn't really been much of it because most of the people on the council are allies in some fashion. So you don't need to, right?
Yeah.
Now you'd be moving, as Ceres was saying, potentially into like a lion's den,
Yep.
where
I
where some
definitely
of them
agree.
will be against you, but you don't know who.
Yeah.
I think the options are like you agree to this, and your only option really to move up is like courtly intrigue and politics, which I don't see Amana's wanting to do. Or you'll like stomp your foot down and say, no, like what I want is clear. I want to rule. Unless you're offering me the crown, get out, and we'll see each other when we see each other, right? And then basically what's the word? Receding, going independent. There are people who are going to follow you. It'll be like the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation. Maybe we go talk to the people in the south who are currently being genocided and be like, yo, you want to help destabilize this empire?
Oh god, that's gonna be.
No, those are
yeah.
basically children at this point that are left in the Blood Elves.
The problem is that I don't know. Does Amunas want to destroy the empire? Like that's the thing. Like, on
Well-
one hand, yes, like burn it down and we build something new around it.
So as
The
a
symbol is the phoenix, right?
Yeah.
It
Burn
is.
it down, rise from the ashes.
As a
Mhm.
player, I think the coolest way is saying no. I think it makes for a badass story, and I think it will be a cooler campaign along that way.
All right.
Like as a player, that's I would pick it because I think it'd be a cooler story. The Risen King finally sees his sister. His sister's super nice and friendly to him, and it's like, oh, but you can kneel, and he says no.
Yeah.
And
Does the Rorschach thing be no?
exactly, and I love that sort of story, and I think
I hear you.
it would make the better story than Amanas saying it. Like regardless of Oath, regardless of what Amanas does, like feels about it, I think it's just a cooler story if Amanas says no rather than he's just done this cool conquest and now he bends the knee. Just feels like off.
As I will confirm, I will just confirm for you as players, both sides will involve courtly intrigue. Both sides are going to involve armies.
Yeah, of course.
Both sides are going to involve big decisions, but the story will dramatically take a turn here. So
I think it's a cooler story to say no. Ceres has her own shit. I don't care about that right now. As a player, cool to say no to bending the knee.
I agree. As a player, I think independent is the more interesting way. Just like for example, Crusader Kingdom, you start as a count, then you rise as an empire through independency and whatever. I think it has also more options than just going into the court and doing the spy stuff. It's could be happen, lesser effects still. But I think the independence and making new, shaping the kingdom in new would be more interesting.
When I play Crusader Kings, I start as a count and work my way up to empire. I don't start as a duke in an empire.
I mean as a count, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean like in Crusader Kings, that's how I play it because it's so much more fun.
But you start as a count, go duke, go independent, make your own kingdom, and conquer other kingdoms, then become empire. Because you usually start as under someone as a count.
We already are independent. That's the thing.
I mean, yes, to a degree.
To a degree, we are.
This is example.
What?
So the situation right now is obviously the Highlands, which you claimed is technically independent.
Yeah.
But Lady Eliza's territory should be part of the Empire.
Yeah, she just bend the knee to an independent.
She chose to swear to you, but it's technically still Empire territory.
Yeah, but we fly under Sorkai.
It becomes Sorkai territory.
Yes.
Right. Or would Lady Eliza would she break her oath and go to the Queen in that?
Lady Eliza has promised to follow you, and she will continue to follow that oath.
Very well.
Yeah, I can't imagine Elias
But it
being
doesn't
an
change.
oathbreaker.
But the point is, like, legally speaking, like that's part of the whole reason the Duke was put in this situation as well, because Lady Eliza was Empire territory. He can't let that leave the Empire.
Yeah.
Like the Sorka is only the independent area here.
Yeah.
Everything else is under the Empire.
But we
Obviously,
fly.
if you choose to break away entirely, then you take all 4 provinces with you.
Yeah, but we fly as Sorkai. That's our capital. We're an independent state.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
yeah.
I think the decision then is made. We will go independent.
Will you? Would you like to say? Would you like to talk to your sister directly about this, or would you like to just simply send a messenger?
Amanas would meet her, outside the gates, and basically tell her that the decision has been discussed in detail. This is a difficult situation, to say the least. I do believe you, dear sister, that your intentions are pure, and that you had nothing to do with my attempted assassinations. You strike me as true and forthright in your dealings, and as such I must wish you well in all of your endeavors. But my conscience is also clear. The oath I have sworn to uphold my goals and the people I have under my command all compel me to say no to the offer you have made. The Empire, as grand as it is, seems to me to be sick and rotten to the core. It has tried to kill me several times. And I suspect it has left you alone just because whatever powers behind the throne find it expedient to do so now. I would say to you, dear sister, that even though I say no to your offer now, you, yourself, would be welcome at my side as we reforge the new empire. But it has to be like this. We cannot rely on the old structures any longer. They are corrupted beyond saving. The church, the noble houses, everything. It must be reforged.
What you state are grand changes, complete uprooting of everything that came before us. These actions do not hold order. They lead us down a road of unknown chaos.
He nods slightly and says, "The old order is choking, based on principles forged hundreds of years ago, upheld by nobles and tradition in a way that is stifling us. When I didn't acquiesce to whatever plans they had, they tried to murder me, sister. And they will
And
come for you too."
I struck them down. I'm trying to change everything. But it takes time. You can't simply uproot a millennia.
He looks at her and says, "I don't have that time, sister. Look around you. We have enemies pressing in on all sides. You claim you have reasons to attack the elves again in the south. All of this expenditure just to uphold what has already proven so corrupt and so." He like grinds his teeth. The church itself sent corrupt inquisitors up here, killed the Duke of Freyfrost, a noble and just man. At that point, I realized the Empire cannot be saved just by waiting. It needs to be saved by itself. The blade must be melted so it can be reforged anew.
The Empire is trying to save itself. I'm doing my best I can here.
He nods and says, "I believe you. Truly, I do believe you, sister.
We would be stronger together. You know that.
He nods and says, I agree. We would. But we are both proud. We are both Dawn Crowns. We are both sworn oaths. Even though we are in full agreement on this situation, we have chosen different paths. I cannot bend my knee to you, sister. I cannot.
I cannot let you simply uproot and force us into a full civil war to simply get your way, though. I'm sorry.
I am
Can't risk that.
He nods. I understand. As a ruler, you must do as you see best for your rule. Certainly.
Do you remember the tenets of the crown?
He smiles slightly. I do seem to recall them vaguely.
You must be doing what needs to be done for order's sake, even in overwhelming odds. If we do not act, then who will?
He nods. That is certainly true. He absentmindedly touches the crown he wears. Like in the middle of it is that gemstone, that citrine he got from the revelation in the dwarven corrupted mines.
Mm-hmm.
The one that he has, seen as a sign from the heavens that he is on the right path. Running a finger over it, he will say, then we both must do what we think is right. You cannot bend to me, and I cannot bend to you, sister. It pains me that it must be like this, but I see no other way currently. I believe that you are surrounded by schemers and people who will see you dead, or try to, in some fashion. They have done it to me, they will do it to you. If such a time comes, and you need to flee, or seek shelter, know that I would happily shelter you.
Please know that I will not go down quietly.
He nods. I would not expect you.
But I take it then I cannot persuade you further. Which... It is sad that you will not be joining me again in our ancestral home. I had quite hoped.
He looks at her and says, oh, I will be there. Sooner or later, I will reclaim what is mine. Your brother has changed, Zalia. The old Amanas is dead. Before you is indeed Amanas Zeal.
And that is what I fear. That it will not be us sharing those halls. It would merely be one of us. She sounds very sad saying that. Still, I acknowledge my word. And I will keep it. My word is paramount. If this is the route you will choose, I acknowledge your claim here in the north. And if you wish to succeed instead of bending the knee, I will allow it. Then do know, you are cut off from everything in the Empire. You are walking your own path, and that is by your own choice.
He nods. So be it.
You see her gently kind of grip her holy symbol for a moment, as if letting a small prayer. It may be longer than I hoped till when we next see each other again. Though hopefully, it can still be with the olive leaf instead of the blade. As she makes a motion to her people to start packing camp.
He will nod. I will hope so too, Zalia, and I hope so fervently. As I said, I wish you well. And remember that if the time comes, my offer is open to you.
I
Then
know
he
mine is
will
still open to you as well.
nod. And then he will turn and walk back into the capital as the gates will close behind them, and the banner of the phoenix with the crown, flying proudly from the parapets of the citadel.
As for on this day, the face of the Empire forever changes, losing most of what would be called the Reach, at least very quickly when the Duchess also unequivocally resigns herself from the Empire in the coming days. Two, and perhaps more to follow.
All right, it's time to send diplomats everywhere.
As the stability of the
Yeah.
Empire is now in question, especially given, with the Duchess's departure, trade and economics for the entire Empire is about to face a new era, and not a pretty one for all.
While we have very lucrative trade deals.
So first off, talk to the Duchess about political marriage. Second off, talk to the Marchlands to the east. So many good politics to be
A lot of
had.
things will happen from here on, but that won't be until the next time we pick everything up.
We've got orcs to deal with as well.
It will be quite a while before we pick things up, but
Do we level up?
yes.
Yeah.
As this concludes this chapter.
Level 10 is where I can start making Valky even more insane in his espionage.
I
'Cause
see.
I can give him a little bead, like a little pearl, that contains a 4th level spell or lower.
Oh, yeah.
that he
thing.
could just use within an hour.
You will also find in the coming days, while the Duke's Palace did once contain the equipment for essentially a teleportation circle to link back to the capital, it
Hey,
appears that connection has been severed.
Yeah.
redirected to Sorakai.
Yeah, we can redraw.
Oh,
Well,
Sokai does not currently have an appropriate circle, though one could be made.
What?
I thought it had
Inconceivable.
one in the.
It has one, but it
They
does
need to be
have one, okay,
linked.
but it's inactive currently.
Okay,
So-
okay.
We'll put it on the list of things to do.
Ceres has wanted
I mean,
something
that's
like
really
that
what
for
we should
ages.
do. We should have like a teleportation circle in all our capital cities.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
We'll just move around quickly.
But yeah. Lady Eliza territory doesn't have one because, generally speaking, it's only the dukes who typically built one.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
They're quite expensive. But it appears the Empire has severed the connection, though, between any of the circles in the north and back south.
Well,
Yeah.
I can pick up teleportation circle if
Yeah,
we
I
don't
mean,
have
that
someone
might
to
be-
make it.
Yeah, that seems good. It takes a while though, right? You need to like cast it for a year or whatever it is to make it like permanent.
To make it you create a permanent yeah, so you create a permanent teleportation circle by casting the spell in the same location every day for 1 year.
Mhm.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It's a long process.
Long ass process.
I get at level 10 2 any of the spells. One of those spells gonna be Private Sanctum for scrying protection and that kind of stuff.
Yes, that will be good for our council chamber.
I'm gonna pick Private Sanctum for one.
It may, obviously, the teleportation circles, it still may be possible to teleport to ones in the Southern Empire if you end up being given like the correct sigils and sequences for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But any direct connection has been severed.
So level 10 for me, I get only one thing, and that is the Aura of Courage. Myself,
You certainly made a courageous decision here.
yes,
Yeah.
myself and any creatures within 10 feet cannot be frightened while I am conscious.
Any creatures or
Mm.
any allies?
Any friendly creatures.
For sake, any creature would be a problem for you.
Now, any creature will be an incredible problem. But this allows me to, if you're close, like fighting close to me in the front line, I can now freely employ all of my fear aura bursts and whatnot, and not worry about like frightening allies.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, you have made your decision here. There will be consequences.
Yes. The queen will remember this.
More than the queen will remember this.
Yes, it is a big fuck off to the entire establishment, certainly.
You've chosen
But-
not to work with the Empire. You've chosen to work against it.
Yes, well, we're saving it from itself.
Very true.
But yeah, I mean, as long as the Duchess keeps her word and the pact is going here, we'll have a fairly strong ally on our western front.
I mean, she created an ally. She was your ally for the purposes of dealing with the Duke. From here on, you have to see what happens between you.
Yeah, she closes the embassy. She's done.
I mean, she's probably still going to remain friendly with you, but but your exact status as allies might have to be up for question again.
Yes, we'll have to renegotiate, I suppose.
I'm definitely looking forward to what comes next, but I really have to go to bed. So good night, guys.
Good night.
Yep. See you guys. Thanks for the session. It was interesting.
It was a big one.
Yes, it was a big one.
I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoyed it though. So,
Yeah,
Oh, very
had fun.
much.
It's always fun to have these chapter-ending cliffhanger things.
and now I've got a ton of prep to go do at some point.
Hey,
Oh,
there you
yeah.
go.
Thankfully, you've also got a summer you wanted to take off, so this works out well.
Yes, I am going on vacation.
You're going on vacation, which means I can very slowly start figuring out what I'm going to do for the next chapter.
Yes. I always do like because most of my days are like regular time is very scheduled. Like every evening I have something scheduled, is role playing or hanging with someone or doing something.
Yeah, I get that.
So when my vacation rolls around, I'm like, all right, sever all connections. Like
No, I definitely get that sometimes because like Wednesday I play a D&D game, Thursdays I play a D&D game, Fridays I stream. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So just being like, you know what? It's Friday, and I can just sit here and drink wine. That is.
That reminds me, I've got wine in the kitchen. I've just still not finished drinking it.
Yeah, it's very appealing to me. So I'm gonna enjoy that. That said, don't be a stranger. If anyone want to hang out or talk or anything, just give me a poke. Like I'm still around. It's just I'm.
You're free.
relaxing. Yes, I'm free. Free to play Baldur's Gate 3, which is out in like 3 weeks, which is
3rd of
crazy.
August.
Yes.
Me and some friends have dived back into ESO recently, so
I have
Elder
booked
Scrolls
off the 3rd and the 4th so that I can play it.
Yeah, that's the week people are over
Yeah.
for the visit. So me and Valken won't be start playing until the 7th. But it is still within my vacation sphere because before with the old release date, it was releasing on the same day I started working again, and I was like, this is going to be a
Yeah.
catastrophe.
I've
But
changed
now I have 2 weeks of playing it before I actually start working. It's going to be great.
so quick, get through it fast.
Yes, it looks very interesting. Looks very promising.
So, I just want to note, I have realised that because my intelligence went up, I should actually have more prepared spells than I have. Like,
Well, you can go figure that out.
4 more.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
That's quite a lot. Yeah.
Also, Isa, I hope you enjoyed the session as well.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun.
What